Hello, hello. Hey, Kevin, and happy Wednesday. Today, we are going to hopefully have more brain power than I did yesterday. And one of the things I started working on yesterday is the code design for trade-offs in the game. So I talked about these where you'll get a positive like aspect of the trade-off and a negative one, and they'll combine to form one choice, and they'll be given three choices of these. So this is one choice. And I think this will improve the game and the replayability of the game. But coding these was kind of up in the air. And I did some design yesterday and I asked Kevin about some of this stuff too. And I think one of the things after thinking about this and sleeping on it is I should probably do what makes sense right now and is not like, yeah, I don't want to be overly picky about this. I want to just do what's cleanest for the code. I should type, hey guys, or you with a start screen. The hey guys are just anyway. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess. But hi, Galaxy Inferno. Did you get enough sleep last night? Galaxy Inferno mentioned playing what like 4 runs of challenge one, which again very gratifying for me, but probably not a great way to start your day. All right. Anyway, I've got a bunch of outstanding code that I need to go look through, and I think, as mentioned, one of the things I realized is I think I want to do what's simplest for now. So all abilities, we have a construct ability. Let's probably move somewhere else since it's used by base ability. Yeah, I think this could actually even just be there. Yeah. And that might make things a little bit more obvious here. Hey, Matt. I got sleep in the morning. Probably not enough, but at least it was fun. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Any feedback you have, by the way, feel free to share on Discord. I am happy to know what could be improved or what you didn't like. I know there's some rough edges around some UI stuff that we're going to need to do something about. We used anytime. I don't know what I meant by that. But yeah, let's get these things and this. Okay, so that looks good. So now this should change. All abilities. I am hoping we can get to the point by the end of today where I at least have trade-offs coded. We might not have all of them, and we need a certain threshold before we can launch to playtesters. Maybe like at least like 5 positive and 5 negative options, just so that there's something in the game. But options are really only interesting when you don't get all of them. So we probably need to make it more like 10, and I don't think we'll get 10 done today. This is base ability.construct. Okay, so this just makes an ability from its type. Clone then is this, which is not really cloning. It's like a shallow clone. Only used to create the ability, not to populate it. Although it does give it its level. Although its level doesn't matter for these. Maybe I don't know what we should do for this. I thought I wasn't using it anymore. I wasn't, and then I thought about, okay, so this is a little bit complex to make this super clear on stream, but here's what we needed to do overall. So the basic goal was get these trade-offs to work. And let's say we had a trade-off that was like, it could be themed either positively or negatively for some of these. Maybe you say like income plus 10%, that's positive. And then the negative one would be income minus 10%. So one way of doing this, method one would be like make 2 separate abilities. One with a hard-coded plus 10% and the other with a hard-coded minus 10%. That would work. But another one is make a parameterized ability and just have it take in like float income multiplier. We didn't have a way to do this. So, okay, I wrote something here. And we have this this constructor now that takes in an optional parameter. So if you were to just construct an income multiplier, it would be multiplying by 1, which is like no change. However, we have a function that was just doing activator.createInstance, which either requires you to pass in all of the arguments or uses a parameterless constructor. This is not parameterless. This has a parameter. It's just optional. So either we would have needed to do something where we said like public income multiplier like that, where this is parameterless and then calls into the one with an optional parameter, and then we delete this, so that now it's no longer optional, it's required. This works. The other way to do things is to enumerate all of the constructors and enumerate all the constructors that have only optional parameters and then call into them with whatever their default values are. So the reason I want to go for that is because this, having to write this for every single class just doesn't seem like it's worthwhile to me, when that's the whole reason why you have optional parameters. But this is probably going to be less performant. Hey, Chef Alton. So yeah, I'm not totally sure what I want to do yet, but one of the things I want to make clear is what's going on in this file. We have this clone, and historically clone has really just been make a new ability. And yeah, we happen to set the level as well, and that used to be all that we would need. So one of the things I'm debating on is, should we always write out what clone actually is for this? Here, Esco, did you see my take in the gist with having a second method that gives the parameters when needed? I did see that, yeah. The problem is we just don't even need to ever clone these other ones. Clone is used on like battle specific abilities, and it's used for abilities that can level up. And these trade-offs are neither of those. So we actually never clone them except to create a shell that we can populate, because technically clone was the same as create for us. So that's, I don't know. I don't know what to do here, and I don't want to like belabor this point so much, but I don't want to have to override clone everywhere, and I don't want to have to like say what the parameters are. I basically just don't want to use clone for those. It's more work, but less performance. But the change in performance is probably pretty minor and not happening constantly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And if it is happening constantly, then we can potentially just change that later. Hey, James, amazed by 1, the coding, and 2, how are you typing with those? I've got a whole keyboard video that Matt just linked in. But the short story is that at least when it comes to just typing English, it's practically the same, right? Each key is usually a letter, and it just types that letter. Right, so I can type out a bunch of letters. When it comes to everything else, you typically need to enter a layer for that. And the simplest, quickest example here is the way you type an exclamation mark on a regular keyboard is Shift 1. You don't have an exclamation mark key. You have a 1 key, and then you enter a different layer, the Shift layer, to access it. So it's the same thing with me. Like I have an S key, and I hold the symbol thing, the symbol layer, and press S, and it turns into parentheses. So that's what lets me use all the different symbols and numbers and everything else you'd have on a regular keyboard without having all the keys for them. Cone keyboard. Imagine a conical keyboard. It'd be conically comical. All right. Yeah, I don't think this should be called a clone, but it does actually populate the level. So it does kind of make me wonder if there should be like a shallow clone and a deep clone, or if we just shouldn't be calling clone in cases where we don't need clone to be there. What happens if we don't specify a level? It's set to 1. Wow, look at that. So then I guess all we need to do is construct an ability. Hey, Smack, it's going well. I'm hoping that today goes better than yesterday. Yesterday, it doesn't matter. Yesterday just wasn't a great day for productivity. All right, so let's find all the callers of this. So create ability is calling clone. There is no reason for that to happen. And especially when clone was just calling activator.create instance anyway. It's like we didn't save ourselves anything. So I think we need to change that. So this is going to be, it actually probably shouldn't even exist here. Return base ability dot construct. Oh, I see why. Because we need to do it that way. I wonder if get type is an expensive function. I wouldn't expect it to be. You won't be missed yesterday. It's not vague. I'm trying to make my own sandbox MMO with no coding expertise. You think it's possible? I think that, let me put it this way. I would say anyone can make an MMO. It may take a lot of learning and a lot of time. But I think the question should probably be, should you make an MMO? And I think the answer is no, 99.9% of the time. So if you're doing it to learn, by all means, you should do it. I don't think any other question should ever get in the way when it comes to, are you learning something? Does it cost a lot? Well, if you want to learn it, then yeah, whatever, pay that cost. Does it take a lot of time? Well, if you want to learn it, spend that time. But if your goal is to make a product, make money, etc., I think these are generally just, it's not worth making an MMO. Because the other thing you have to consider is an MMO, just like any other game, is a set of systems and a set of content for those systems. And for MMOs in particular, the content is typically like vast. Imagine trying to make the content for Legend of Zelda. Let's say I handed you the game and I was like, okay, you have a level editor, you have all of the, I guess let's say we gave you all the items already too. We gave you all the graphics and we're like, okay, just go make a fun game now. That on its own would be a very difficult task. You wouldn't need any coding for it necessarily. You just need to be like, okay, here's what level 1 looks like. Here's what puzzles I want to put into it. Here's what enemies should be in each room. Here's where you should get each item and what it should be used for and how much damage it should do. Like all of those decisions on their own are already very difficult and numerous, more so than difficult. And those aren't even the entirety of the game. You still need to make the system. So could you do it? Yes. I think it's possible. I don't think it's probably worthwhile unless you're just doing it to learn. And if you're doing it to learn, you should probably just tackle a smaller game anyway. Why does the activator method not work when there are parameters in the constructor? Don't all of their abilities take an ability data? They do for the base ability, but if you look at something like Quick Strike, for example, it has a parameterless constructor that passes in static data. If we look at Fireball, it has a parameterless constructor that passes in static data. And every single ability up until now has worked that way. Doing it to learn and have a game at the end of it, you probably won't have a game at the end of it. And I think if you go in with that expectation, then everything's great. But yeah, even if you set out to make like, I don't know, Mario Bros, not an MMO, right? You probably still wouldn't have a game at the end of making this. And it's just an important thing to set expectations so you don't feel dejected by the end of it being like, oh man, I've spent 2 years on this project. Should I finish it? Should I not finish it? Yeah. So I think you will learn a lot though. That's almost certain. There's almost no way that you won't learn something from this. Okay. What was I doing? I changed this. This is fine. So we got to go find every other instance of clone and ideally change it to make it clear. Hey, Zaletics, good morning. So we have this one, which technically isn't needed at all. I think we can just delete this. Town perk choice clones an ability for what reason? Actually, wait, let's look through all of them and not necessarily figure all of them out exactly yet. This is to give the ability to a summon. And this is specifically, yeah, okay, this is fine. This actually is a need where we need clones specifically. This is for player abilities we're going to show in a perk choice. So we clone it. We don't need to do this though. We could just set the level. I guess we can clone it. But I should be very, very clear about what we're doing here. So we get the existing ability. We get the like copied ability. We could make a new one here and just set its level. Okay, hang on. Let me see. Is there anywhere else that we need to do this? I think what I'm kind of proving to myself here is what's happening with this. Get their base abilities, cloned abilities. I think what I'm proving to myself here is that this is not the right inheritance hierarchy. Where are the abilities here? Enemy data.abilities. And these are a collection of abilities? Why? Why indeed? We make a new basic attack. I don't just do this with IDs. Endurin, thanks for the resub. I hope your day's going well. What's your take on multiple sources of truth? I sometimes cache or duplicate values for performance, but I always regret it in the end. Yeah, I generally think it's a bad idea. I think there are kind of two things happening there, though. One is multiple sources of truth need to be kept in sync. And two is only optimize when you know for sure what needs optimization. So is it that bad to run some like Like maybe what you have is one source of truth. So let's say you had a bunch of numbers. Let's say you had test scores. So there's like 197, 184, I don't know. And let's say you needed to calculate the average. So you might think, okay, let's store the average every time this is modified. And that's actually one way that you could do this. Oh, in fact, did it actually come up with the correct thing? That's one way you could do this. Another way is you could have a cache layer that knows how to take in, let's say, this array and knows how to give you what the average is, and it keeps a certain number of cache instances there. Or you could just absorb the cost and compute this every single time. But yeah, it's not the kind of thing I think you generally don't want to keep your data in sync. And it's confusing for any other developers to work on your project too. Okay, so yeah, why do we do this? I guess because then we could parameterize these, not that we ever do. They could have just been ability IDs though. Oh man, all right, well, where else do we initialize this? Abilities higher than level 0. So we're actually getting the abilities here. And this is all so that we can do what? So we can add them in with the correct level. I mean, I guess an ability is the ID and its level. I think this is actually fine. So I think this is a real clone. Okay, so this is real. This is not kind of totally real. This is real. So these are actually a case of it cloning. So here's, I guess, the new problem. So base ability.clone exists, but it only copies the level over to the new ability. And that's all we ever need. I guess this is more the context than the problem. So the problem is these new trade-offs that I'm adding inherit from base ability.clone, but won't actually implement it. Oh, but it'll never get called. So maybe that's what we just override this and say this is not implemented. Yeah, because it's never actually used. Okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah. So we go into trade-off aspect, and I code this here, and I say to override this to just throw a not implemented exception, throw new. Hang on one second. Engage privacy mode. Okay, well, that part of my room is showing. That's not necessarily private. Yeah, hang on one second. I wrote something down. Yeah, I thought I had this. I should probably fix that. All right, well, whatever. I'll write that over here. Like fix privacy mode. I'll just write it in this, even though it says Tuesday. Fix. It's clipping the green screen. All right, so this is what I want. We intentionally do not support cloning these, just save on having to code yet another function for every class that derives this, even though that function would be quite straightforward. This is because it simply doesn't exercise code paths that require cloning. Yeah, nice. I think I like this. And piece of what looks like a lamp or a stand has leaked. That is a lamp or a stand. That's a keen eye you've got there. I'm going to have to execute you now. Okay, I think we've done it. I think I've done all the parts of this that I wanted to change. I need to look through that gist again and make sure that everything is good here. And I need to write a bunch of comments. But otherwise, I think we're good. Yeah, this looks nice. Okay, let's go try it out. So if I run this, I currently have an income multiplier of 5 set, which means that if I click an apple, I should get 5 gold. So I start with some crazy amount. Yeah, 5,000. And if I click an apple, yeah, I do get 5 gold. Now, if I load the game, I should get 500 gold because I have that in my save file. So I go from 6,000 to 6,500. Yep. Nice, this is working. Is it really just a zoomed out capture of your screen? Yes, hey, Mysterious. I thought that was just very funny. And I made sure that the quality is such that unless there is one way I could leak something, which is if I had something that took up the whole screen, like let's say there was one secret character I had, let's say like an A, you could probably be able to see this if it took up my entire screen. But short of something like that, which I don't even know what that would leak, short of something like that, you wouldn't be able to read anything. Is this Apple challenge mode? Oh, that would be funny. All right, so I got to read the gist, right? Yeah. So Kevin left some comments, and I responded to these, but I want to make sure that I address them now in the code. So the extra constructor, no arguments there. So we deleted this. Does it work with these abilities? We need to copy over these parameters. So now there's a comment for why that doesn't work. This and this, I think, are just things we'll do based on the game design. So yeah, I think we're okay. Did I answer all my own things now too? So we needed one of these two things. Yeah, so I should probably write a comment in here, base ability. Constructs an ability from just its type. This requires that the ability either contains a parameterless constructor or one whose parameters are all optional. It is probably not performant to run this code, but it's the easiest thing to code. So we can always potentially optimize this later. I did read about something kind of interesting. I read about compiled lambdas. Did I write this somewhere? I probably did. Yeah, this. You can apparently calls the constructor with the args we just created and get a type of this, then compile this. I'll just say EG with compiled lambdas. Is that a term you can just Google and find this? Because I didn't know this was actually even a thing. Lambda expression.compile. Wow. Produces a delegate that represents a lambda expression. Does it say why you would do this? It doesn't. Does it mention performance or speed or optimizing or no? I mean, it's a pretty small article anyway. I'm curious then why they have this here. Hey, BTW. After you finish the game, do you plan to start another one or will you take a break from gaming for a while? So there is an absolutely cathartic experience that I've had, which is you take a to-do list and you get rid of it. And that is the only thing I want in between Skeleseller and the next game, ideally. So the Skeleseller to-do list right now is technically not all in one spot, but this is 30 pages long. This one is 20 pages long. So there's 50 pages of to-do items. And then there are all of these issues. So 260 issues. And that's for Skeleseller right now. So for the new game, I have like I shouldn't say skeleton. I have an outline of an idea. I don't have much written down yet. And I'm intentionally not exploring this too much. But once I do get to designing this and fleshing out some ideas and everything, I'd like for Skeleseller to be kind of finished in my mind. So what that means is, let's say we launch Skeleseller, and let's say it gets popular. I would probably just still support it. I probably wouldn't start a new game immediately. And then after somewhere between probably like 1 and 3 years, I'd probably start to work on a new game. Now, if it's not popular, if it doesn't get popular, and by the way, there's technically a time frame here, right? You can't launch it and then after 1 second be like, it's not popular. You have to wait some amount of time. So let's say after a month or 2 months or 6 months or something, if it doesn't get popular, yeah, then we'd make a new game. And I mentioned I have an idea for this and I'd flesh it out. But yeah, I really like that in between period where you're like, oh, I'm building up a to-do list and not tearing down a to-do list. Can I get that link? Is it in the today notes? It's not in the today notes, but yes, you can definitely get that link. Because yeah, I didn't know about this. And I haven't benchmarked this stuff for myself. So to be clear, the link I showed you is either this one or this one in the first answer. But I linked you to the Stack Overflow one so you could see any other comments about this. Yeah. All right. So wait, where did I leave off here? Because I really can't lose my train of thought for this. All right, right. It's probably not performant to run this code, but it's the easiest thing to code, so we can potentially optimize this later. By the way, the very problem that we're trying to solve here is we have a bunch of ability IDs. So all of these, right? There's 160 of them right now, and I added a temporary one, so 161. Anyway, there's 160 of these right now. And what you wouldn't want to do is you wouldn't want to say something like, base ability equals, or like ability equals ID switch case fireball, new fireball. Like case, you know, frostbolt, new frostbolt. I don't want to maintain some switch statement with like 158 other cases here. I'd rather just have it be that when we, although we could do this, this is possible. I'd rather have it be that whenever there's a new thing that exists, we just look up the constructor for that thing. But this is another route that we could do here. The general problem is go from an ID to an instance of the thing the ID represents. So when it's ID.fireball, you make a new fireball thing, right? I guess these would be like ability ID dot. So yeah, the method 1 is a giant, like a switch case or if else blocks. Method 2 is some kind of like registration dictionary. So each ability tells how to make itself, or there's a factory or something. And method 3 is reflection. And that's about it. Those are the ways you can do this. So if it's not like there's some C# secret here, and I think that's what's important. So note, the only other methods of doing this are some kind of switch case, giant switch case block that needs to be maintained, or a dictionary / factory where we register constructors. So optimizing the reflection path may be the best bet. Hey, Codex. What got you to look into compiled Lambda expressions? It was just in case this is slow, what can we do about it? And it sounds like we could potentially just make a bunch of compiled Lambda expressions to make it slightly faster. And if that works, then great. If it doesn't work, then I don't know, we make a giant switch case or something. But for now, I'm just going to ignore that completely, because what this lets me do is it lets me write simpler code for something like this. I don't need a clone here. I don't need a parameterless constructor. So the more lines of code we can remove from this, the better. So that now we're down to this. And I think every line of this is important, except for maybe the icon ID. We might not use icons, but that's something we'll figure out as we make the UI. So assuming we need this, then this line would be necessary, of course. And all of these other ones are definitely necessary. Like we need to know what name it is. We need to know its ID. And we probably need to know its building. Again, the UI might change that. But then this is an income multiplier, so we need to store its multiplier. We need a way from an ability to just fetch what is the current multiplier. This could be simplified probably a tiny bit. I don't like that this is in 2 different places. And this is very prone to errors. And the way we'd solve that is actually kind of annoying. We'd make like a private const ability ID, like this ability ID equals this, and then we'd set this here. So now we've cut down on the error proneness of this, but then now we need an ability ID for this thing. And I don't really like that idea, but it works. And then it wants me to put this here. I always forget the kappa. I don't think that'll help. I've only ever heard of using compile to help dynamically changing expressions to be defined for runtime use. According to this article that I found, it should apparently speed things up based on just constructing things. Here are their stats that they have. So if you use a default constructor with just straight up new, so this is like the fastest way you could ever do this, it's 0.02 milliseconds per 1,000 calls. If you use activator, it slows down to 1/10 that amount. Or wait, sorry. I don't totally know the difference of how they're delineating these things, but the compiled expression goes down to only half the speed, not 1/10 the speed. And the not compiled expression is incredibly slow. So it apparently might help, but again, I don't think it's worth looking into this right now. Hey, Mystic Soda. Oh no, I'm not going to go into like, yeah, single instruction, multiple data sorts of things. I don't think we need to do that. Hey, Ramy, the nearly dead Ramy. Scared me there. Also, what were you talking about? The hook knife? What does it even mean? Because everything you said sounded very spooky. Okay, have I written everything down yet? Also, my brain seems to be working, which is good news for today. So option 1 we've gotten rid of. Clone we've now clarified. Yeah. So we need some kind of combine or generate or something. Okay. Supposed to pick later? Okay, yeah. Yeesh. All right, this income multiplier was just a proof of concept. So if I'm going to check in this code, we're actually not going to check in the proof of concept. But I kind of want to keep it around until I've checked in like a real ability. And I want to come up with better names and stuff too. So let's look over the code one more time. Is there anything here that could be... Why does this even exist? Yeah, sure, fine. That has a reason to exist. Although if we do this, why do we call into... We have an ability ID. All abilities, construct ability. This is from an ability type. Okay, that's fine. Do you have to do the whole double take thing a few times and show you didn't hit yourself? Yeah. It's like in the cheesy action movies. We're like, are you okay? And then they look down and they're like, oh, I guess I'm not. There's a bullet hole or something. I don't actually know what the reality of that is. Like, could you have so much adrenaline pumping through your system that you actually wouldn't know? Maybe. But I imagine a bullet would hurt. All right, that looks fine. Also, this now checks if it's null. This only lets us construct a non-null ability. And if it would have messed up, then it would fail at the construction time. Yeah, there's a bunch of comments for this. This is fine, this code. I like this. I know, what are those to-do items there? What is this file? Base ability. Clone. Should maybe override. So we did this. Is there anything else I wrote here? Yeah. Maybe this shouldn't be called clone. No, it should be called clone. It is cloning. Nothing here is more than emotional damage. Imagine that in an action movie. The villain like insults the protagonist, and then the love interest comes over and is like, "Are you hurt?" And they're like, "Oh, my ego." They collapse to the ground. My honor. Yeah. So I need this as the proof of concept. We got to keep that around. Anything else here? Yeah, this name. So proof of concept, name. Anything else? No, that's it. So proof of concept and name. That's the stuff we got to keep here. Stuff I want to do is keep the proof of concept around and change the name of trade-off aspect. Okay, so what do we call this? Every trade-off has two components, a positive one and a negative one. What do we call those components? Maybe trade-off component? Because right now I called it trade-off aspect. I don't like that. Maybe this one's better. What else could we call it? It's technically... I guess there's more to it than just this. It's an ability that is either positive or negative at any moment, but some of them can be either depending on a parameter. At least Ramy's alive. Yeah. We need more Ramys in the world. And gets an ice cream. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Trade-off component. The component is probably bad given that we have the name component in other parts of this. We use component in our ECS. It's really just an ability, maybe like ability for trade-off. That sounds even worse. Trade-off ability. That's probably a little bit better. Yeah, I like that. I think that's better. Adam Stream Poltergeist from beyond the grave. He's telling jokes and puns. Okay, I kind of like trade-off ability. Also, it is an ability, so we might as well rename this stuff. So trade-off ability.cs. Let's go delete the other one that we have here. That. And then let's rename this everywhere to trade. Whoops. Okay, well, I guess we could just do it this way. Yeah. I wasn't planning on doing it that way, but it's the same thing. So I think the name is now pretty reasonable. I should probably write what this represents up here. This is an ability that's intended to be used as part of a trade-off choice in challenge mode. Some of these abilities will only be able to be positive or negative, e.g. harvest all crops would be a positive only trade-off or a positive only ability. Some may be parameterized such that you can only tell if they're positive or negative based on their parameters. E.g., income multiplier would be a good thing when the multiplier is greater than 1. Otherwise, it would be, well, I should say a positive or negative thing, right? Positive thing. All right, there's an ability that's intended to be used as a part of a trade-off choice in challenge mode. Some of these abilities will only be able to be positive or negative, like this would be positive only. Some may be parameterized, such as you can only tell if they're positive or negative based on their parameters. They are only ever level 1. They're capped at level 1 because you aren't, I guess we could say just because of how the game presents them to the player. Yeah. Ghost script. I mean, if you write the language from Beyond the Grave, maybe we would use it. All right, and then the proof of concept. We should probably just come up with a real trade-off. Oh, it's already a thing. Yeah, but Raimi script isn't a thing, is it? Okay, well, their website's not loading, but this loads. It looks vaguely like the Java logo. I know it's a ghost and a G, but it does kind of look like the Java logo, right? Maybe they intended for that? Is it at all based on Java somehow? No. Huh. All right, well, this part's done. Proof of concept. I mean, how about this? Let's just make it so that I can't possibly shoot myself in the foot here. And let's just save this in somewhere else on my file system. So we'll call this income multiplier.cs. And then I'll just copy the path to this file and put this here. There. So now that's done. So anything in here that's still needed? Yeah, there's generation and stuff. Okay, let's try to come up with some of these trade-off abilities. I have some of them written down here. We should maybe come up with one that's just positive and one that can be parameterized. So maybe like plus or minus an adventurer per battle. Although nothing would make these work yet. What's a good one of these? Enemy health and power, maybe that one. So we can make every enemy weaker. Or we can make them stronger. I wonder if we have player abilities in the battle. We probably do. No, we don't have them here. Do we have the town? We do. How do we not use this? Picture of knife and off topic. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, I see. It looks like the number 1. Man. Crazy, Ramy. To be clear, it's in the Adam Learns Discord, not the Skeleseller one. That's where we were talking about this stuff. Let me think about this. Why don't we use the abilities that the player has? How do we figure out what level a leech should be? Is there a level passed in? There's a level passed in. And the rest of this is from a constraint, which is pulled in just from what challenge mode has. And challenge mode isn't storing this information, it's storing player information. Okay. I think that's fine. Yeah, and if we have the town here, then I guess we can just get the player abilities. I don't know for sure that I want to code something just yet for this. Maybe we should not. Maybe we should just check in what I've done. Yeah, so all abilities would change. Base ability would change. Yeah, this stuff looks good. Oh, wait, that's not needed anymore. Throw if null. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Delete that. Base ability. This is construct and then throw if null. This can't throw if null. Yeah, there. Income multiplier we don't do anything about. This technically isn't even used yet, so I guess we just don't do anything there. To the point where what's the reason I'm even doing this? There is no reason. Maybe I should check in all the income multiplier stuff and then just remove it in the future. It's kind of weird to do that too. Then again, maybe income multiplier is actually an interesting one. Yeah, maybe we should just code this. Although I would need to code it slightly better because this isn't working the way it should. This creates floating text based on the amount, but the amount probably needs to get modified here. Oh, which we probably can't even do, can we? Modify money at position is called when they buy an item, when you recycle an item, and for a harvestable. Why is this public? Because this is used for negatives, probably. Is there a way to search for... I guess we can just do that. All right, negative, 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 and value. What is that? Money label. This is when you cheat, right? I think it's when you cheat. Is this a debug thing? It is a debug thing. Why is this called modify currency then? It should be like debug modify currency. Is it possible to win and not get any loot? You mean like beat a battle and not get any loot? The system allows for it, but I don't think there's any instance that actually has a chance of giving 0 of everything. But if you mean, can you beat challenge mode without getting loot? So far, no, because you would have no way of getting money. You wouldn't have a way of getting money. And the objective is always get money. Hey, Pressel. I think that just happened to me. My paladin just won empty-handed. Do you know where they were fighting? How many Skelesellers do you think it would take to sell a light bulb? Oh, wait a second. Hang on. Maybe there is a way of this not happening. If you're playing on a certain specialization, I think we cut out the loot in some spot. Where is that? Percent chance. No, it's not here. Generate drops. Here it is. Something here. Yeah, this. Yeah, so if you are on... Where does this even happen? Less loot. Okay, yeah, if you're playing on the storage enthusiast specialization, are you? If you hover over the upper left, it should tell you your specialization. If you're on this one, then yes, it is possible to get 0 loot. Farm spec hard mode. Hard mode. More enemy damage and seeds cost more. I don't think it should be possible to get nothing. But let me take a look. It's possible that were you playing storage specialization before this by any chance? Because maybe there's a, oh, never mind. Yeah, it's possible. They all have they can all drop 0. Yeah, I just didn't realize that. Okay, never mind. No bug. I thought we got rid of this. But it's just very unlikely. Because you need to, it's 1 out of 3 times 1 out of 3 times 1 out of 4, which is 1 out of 36, which is not a crazy chance. There's like a 3% chance you don't get loot. So yeah, you got unlucky. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's good to report those just in case they are bugs. And I thought there was a bug there. Very unlucky indeed. All right, so there's modify money at position. This is basically only ever used to be a cost to you, except in debug scenarios. Yeah, so technically we just need to do this up here and then we're fine. And there was one other thing I wanted to do. What was it? It was, yeah, rename this, modify currency. That's pretty simple though. We can do that. We can actually just do that now. Yeah, let's do that now. Debug, modify currency. That's it. That's all I wanted to do for that. Which is why we can check that in very easily. Because it's just going to be this, this, and this. Yeah, nothing else, right? No, okay. Rename function for clarity. Okay, so if I go run this, I'm playing the useless paladin. Yeah, you certainly could. Paladin would never know. All right, so now if I click an apple, it should say +5. It said +1. 1 isn't 5. Amount. Oh, the text is created ahead of time? Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, then I guess we can't put this here. I guess it needs to be everywhere we would have called these things, which is, I think, only like 3 places. Also, it's income. It probably shouldn't modify this thing. Money per harvest. What is this? An int? All right, well, long. It should be a long, right? Yeah. Long amount equals money. Money per harvest. I don't want to have to do this every time. Shouldn't there just be income multiplier? This doesn't even have the town, does it? It does have the town. Yeah, fine. Hey, Courage, how you doing? Income multiplier. Let's go write this in here, I guess. So it's not get multiplier. It's like get amount or like get multiply income. I don't know what you call this. Compute income. How about that? Compute income. Long amount and then that. So now return the whatever's on my clipboard. Yes, return this. We're getting there. So math.ceiling amount times the multiplier that we have. Okay, that's pretty nice. I'm doing well. We're making progress today. That's all I ever wanted. Oh, wait. Drat. There are 2 different files I had open. And this is not the file I meant to modify. This is the file I meant to modify. So get multiplier isn't going to exist. Math needs to exist here. That'd be nice. Now we go change all these other things. Town, modify money in position. We start with the recycler or the harvestable. So this is going to be amount equals income multiplier dot compute income, money per harvest, town dot player abilities. Cool. Now what's the problem here? Cannot convert from float to long. Yeah, that was meant to be a long. All right. Now we're cooking. And now we just do that in the 2 other places that we have. So one is here. So this is the scrap price. Scrap price is what? A long. Yeah. So scrap price equals this. Scrap price. All right. And then the last one of these. Oh, wait, no, text. Yeah, nice. All right. And then the final thing is over here. And this is the total buy amount that we're going to change. Buy amount plus bonus times quantity. And then the tip amount is based on something else. Total buy amount. This is sans tip. Total buy amount equals this. Okay. And then we're just done, I think. Let's go try it. So we have 3 different things we need to test. We have a money multiplier of 500%. So anything should give us 5 times the amount of money. So if I click an apple, it should say +5 gold. It should also give us +5 gold, but that was already happening. So if I click this, yeah, it says +5 and it gave us 5. Now I want to sell 1 item and it should give us 15. And of course should say +15. So let's increase the game speed until the customer comes over here. There they are. All right, so we should go to 5,020. Perfect. 5,035. Perfect. And then the last thing we need to do is get the garbage slime in the game. Oh, this won't work because I'm not in challenge mode anymore. Yeah, I got to go into challenge mode and do this. So I guess let's just start with the garbage slime. That should make it easy. Not too shabby. Then we click this and we drag this. This is 3 gold and it says it actually says feed for 3 gold. But then it gave us 35. So it is multiplying by 5, but that tooltip hasn't been updated. Okay, fine. Let's go update the tooltip then. Feed item. Where does it even show? Feed item to slime. Here it is. Scrap price. Get scrap price. Why am I not multiplying there? Okay, that's what I should be doing. Oh, God. All right, what are we doing? Math.max 1 scrap percent value, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I guess we could use the income multiplier thing here. But this is the base value. So long base value equals this. Base value. That should work. All right, so now the tooltip will be correct and the amount that it gives you will be correct. And when you're at the low end of this, so you're only offered, let's say, 1 gold per item, you'll still get 5. By the way, 500% income multiplier is nuts. We're not going to keep that in the game. So it says 15 gold. We feed it. That was a critical, so that's probably fine. That was not critical. So that was actually probably wrong, right? It says feed for 10 gold. No, okay, never mind. That's working correctly. Yeah. Now let's keep granting some items here. 10, 5, 5, 5, yeah. All right, pretty good. Pretty good. So I guess we're keeping this in the game now. Yeah. Anything else we need to change here? No, I don't think so. Well, this can be removed. There's no beta thing. It's just the Steam link. Yeah. Which Matt already got put in the chat. This we don't want to check in. I guess nothing's going to grant this stuff until then. I think that's fine, though. So we don't check in the town challenge mode stuff and town menu. All right. Anything funky here? Anything that can be better? I just don't like this. I mean, if we're going to use reflection anyway, I wonder if it's better to just put this all in an attribute somewhere. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I want to just move on from this stuff. And so far, this is looking pretty good. So this I don't want to check in, which means nothing's going to grant us the income multiplier thing. Oh, you know what I did not test, or at least I don't think I tested, is if I load the game and click an apple. Nice. Nice. It's working. Yeah. Great. All right, so add first or add trade-off ability. I also added the first instance of one of these. What's it called? Income multiplier. This should let us eventually present trade-off choices to the player during challenge mode. Yeah, and I'll include the gist that I have here. Where's that gist? This. Kevin and I talked about the design of this in this gist. Cool. All right, so now I think we have to come up with a list of trade-off things that we're going to implement. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty hard to proceed. And I just hate this process. Because we have some ideas, but which ones are going to be the most fun? And which ones should be trade-off choices versus perks? And should these get stronger as time goes on? I mean, we can decide a lot of this stuff later if we want to. Yeah, I want some like basic generation of stuff. So we gotta identify a few of these. So that's the next task for now, which is design enough trade-offs, positive and negative, that we always have enough to show you for at least one choice, which would mean 3 positives and 3 negatives, and they have to be unique and they have to be combinable in a certain way. We're really going to need a ton of these, and that means I'm putting a lot of stock in this system. And if the system doesn't work or it's not fun, well, the not working part we would fix, but the not fun part means that maybe we have to scrap this. So yeah, if this is not fun, then we're putting in a lot of time, but I don't know how else we could do this. The only way to find out if it's fun at this point is to just go code it. Plus, I already ran some like little simulations here. Like if I were offered these, what would I choose? You know, get a free treasure chest every minute. Every time you cast a spell, duplicate items in your warehouse, or always get seeds for your most valuable crop. These are interesting choices, and they do change how you play. And then the negatives are also interesting and change how you play. So I think the system would work. And I think we should probably just code all of these. We might as well. Yeah, we might as well. Okay, let's go get started then. Why not? Income multiplier is currently in player skills. We should probably save this somewhere else. Yeah, I'm going to move this to trade-off abilities. New folder, trade-off abilities. All right, let's save it there. Now let's go to the old income multiplier, which was in player skills, reveal, delete it, rename this to be in trade-off abilities. And then whatever tries using income multiplier needs to be modified now, because it's going to say they can't find it. That's all okay. This is probably not okay. Yeah, it says player skills. It's not finding an error, though. That's weird. Imagine if there wasn't enthusiastic mode. You could just turn it on in your brain. Trade-off ability cannot be found. I know it's because of this, but the code should also know it's because of that. Now it's going to highlight it, but I shouldn't need to restart VS Code like 1 time per hour. I strongly dislike that. So this is going to be a squiggly, or no, not that, sorry. This part's going to be a squiggly. Yeah, then we include it. It doesn't even know where it exists. There we go. And then it should find that this is not needed anymore. Why is that there? Do we use a player ability in here? I don't even think we do. No, now it found it's not needed. Great. Look at that. Income multiplier. All right, where else? None of those. Oh, wait, no, apparently that one. And now what? Player skills is not needed. Oh, trade-off ability should be in a different namespace as well. Yuck. Why did it do that? Trade-off ability. So we're going to save this in... Actually, it should probably just be in base. We have player ability there too. Yeah, let's save that there. Now let's find the old trade-off ability. Isn't this fun? This should be in base. And then everything else is going to need to change. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. I think the easiest way is to just run .NET format. And it'll find all these places that are broken, which will probably include build errors. Just waiting for it to finish. All right, town challenge mode functions using is unnecessary. Probably this one, and it's probably going to find a build error for income multiplier. Yeah. Public member should come before private. I messed this up. Oh, this is debug code. This is not supposed to be checked in. But just in case I check it in, let's put it in the right spot. Yeah. And what else? Element documentation headers should not be followed by a blank line. Wait, what? What is this? What? The end screens have buttons for... I just never even wrote up that comment. We're just going to delete that. Anything else that we have? Using directive is unnecessary. Okay, I think we've gotten them all. Let's try it out. I feel like this should still not build because I guess we can just try building it because I don't think I fixed all the references to income modifier. They're dead simple to fix. I just don't think I did. And what is this now? Oh, that's fine. Okay, cool. So that's all that. And yes, there is a problem here. That is this. Player skills is probably not needed. Wait and see if it turns yellow. Is it gonna? I guess we could just delete it anyway. And yeah, that would have caused a failure. Okay, so that was needed. And if there are any other errors, I think it would just be one more. Yeah. Because all we had was harvestable recycler and the other one, and I think I already modified the other ones. So now is this needed? Noob, thanks for the resub. Happy 4 and a 60 years. Well, welcome back. All right, there we go. We can build and run, and I should probably amend the last commit with this. And presumably it works. Yep, it does. And presumably this works. It does. Cool, cool, cool. Can I get a cookie? Yeah, sure. We give cookies to every new person in chat. So you're in luck because you're clearly new. All right, so I want to check in that. What a waste of time, by the way. I should have done this originally. I guess I didn't know I was going to keep this. So this doesn't get checked in. This doesn't get checked in, but the rest of this does. Yeah. And we might as well run this again. And this is unrelated, so we'll check that in separately. And this is also unrelated, I guess. Fix linting issues where that stuff should be. We're waiting for 6 years. Oh, you got yours in the mail a while ago. It might have arrived as dust, but you can eat that dust. It's nutritious. It's delicious. Is this going to find any problems? Is it gonna? Just the one. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so amend the last commit. Cool. And then go check these things in as fixed linting errors. Yeah. Fixed linting issues. All right, so now we can go code the new stuff. Yeah. All right, we're just going to code all of these, whether they make sense or not. So what's this going to be? Free treasure chests. Free treasure chests. And we say this like we do for income multiplier. All right, so I guess this would give us an interval here. And the interval would be how many seconds, maybe? Which would be an integer, I guess. Because there's no way we're ever going to have this be a fraction of a second. So minimally it'd be 1 second, and even that's crazy. Now, why does it say, oh, it's on red? Yeah, sure, I get that. All right, so public int interval equals interval. This ID is going to be free treasure chest, display name, building ID. Technically, it's a treasure room, I guess. Compute income. I don't know about this. I don't know what's going to exist here. Let's just delete that for now. Then this is going to be like that. And this is going to be free treasure chest. Maybe there shouldn't be a display name for this. I'm not sure. Get a free treasure chest every this many seconds. Every interval, I guess. So BB code functions dot format number $ quotes curly brace S. I have a feeling income multiplier did not do that. It did not. This should have been format number. Once we've rendered these, did we end up using the display names for the trade-off choices? If not, we should probably refactor them out and maybe even simplify trade-off abilities constructor so that it specifies the name of this should never show. Okay, so we got free treasure chest coded. Honestly, the way this should probably work is how should this work? It's like if this interval has been hit, that we that as soon as you have a free slot, it just makes another treasure chest for you. Too many particles. I bought the new DLC finally, but I was only playing with friends and we only played a couple times. It was fun, but I want to go back to it at some point, and we've just been playing the finals lately. So something needs to track what the current interval is, or like time remaining, and then basically just like, should it make another treasure chest, which means this thing would need a process. Huh. As a new DLC. When I say new DLC, I mean the second to last one. The newest one is only announced. It wasn't out yet. Sorry. It was new to me. Okay, this is kind of interesting. I don't know where we should track this. What should be responsible for tracking how much time has passed? The ability can't do this. It doesn't have a process function. Right? These are just straight up C# objects. Yes. It could be told how much time has passed, though. Alternatively, we could make a timer or something. Or the treasure room could just track this. Yeah, the treasure room could just track this. I guess the treasure room's already tracking it, right? Don't we have an auto purchase thing somewhere? Yeah, here it is. Is auto purchasing enabled? Then what do we use this for? Treasure chest display. Okay, it's going to be very similar code to this. But why do we even put this here? This should not be how this works. And this is public. This is public. This is not. This shouldn't even be here, should it? Update buy cost. Initialize number of chest purchases. I don't think this is correct, is it? No, because something calls in. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, there's a bunch of little weird things that are going on here. This probably shouldn't be here at all. I guess because it updates a tooltip if it's open. Is that even possible? It would be if you had auto purchase. Oh, by the way, I should get my Switch 2 today. Get to finally play DK Bonanza. Interval divided by equal 2. Yep. I got that code in there. It's right alongside your free 20 town perks. By the way, imagine if that's how microtransactions worked for a roguelike. Is you're just like, give me more power in this one run. It'd be so stupid. And I wonder who would pay for that. I guess this is the true, like, who would, there's pay to win games, but who would pay to win one run? As a curious person, I'd like to know, but I think that'd be like the most evil thing you could do. Why does it start with an underscore? That's what Godot uses. So we also have to use that. And I assume the reason Godot does it is because it was originally a GDScript function. And they start the built-in functions with an underscore, I think. I forgot their conventions for that. Don't underestimate people's willingness to throw money away. Yeah, I guess that a game that kind of did something like this is Realm of the Mad God. Every character was forced to be hardcore. So like death equals remake the character. And the characters could have stats that you could boost and items that they could equip. So you might have purchased items that your character would then just like die. But the amount of time you keep that character is technically unlimited. Whereas a Skeleseller run can't be more than 45 minutes. Hey, what did you just say to me? Welcome back. Thank you for the resub. I don't know why it's not making sounds for me. I gotta figure that out. Because I've already asked and people can hear those, but I should be able to hear them too. Hang on a second. Engage privacy mode. Let me see if there's a setting really fast. Again, I know there's a lamp showing there. No, I don't know where this is. I can't find it fast enough. Maybe. Wait, maybe it's this? There's a control audio via OBS. I don't know what that does. I'm not going to bother. I should probably figure that out, though. I'll write this down, too. Figure out why Twitch alerts stopped playing for me. Maybe it's the checkbox in the Twitch alerts browser source. Doesn't affect your code at all if you were to call it the normal C# way, so process. Well, it would affect my code because process is something that gets overridden. So I have to do something like this: public override void process double delta. If you don't have this signature, so if this were protected or this were a Boolean or you named it differently, that you can name the parameter differently, but the type has to be the same. If you were to name this any different, you would now not have Godot call into it. So if I do this, it's going to be a compilation error because you can say you're not overriding anything. And if I delete the override, it won't be an error anymore, but now nothing will call this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yes, Godot could have called it anything they want to, and it just happens to have an underscore there. All right, so I think the treasure room should figure out whether it should buy something, which unfortunately causes a tiny bit of a conflict for us. I guess, should it update the buy cost at all? What even causes this to upgrade? The number of chests purchased. And this is in purchased chest, which is going to get hit no matter what. Oh, we do call update buy cost and all that stuff. It's Godot's fault? Yeah. Well, fault, I mean, I don't really think it's a bad thing necessarily. But yes, it is their doing. All right, so the treasure room is going to keep track of this. Do we have a process in here? We do. Okay, so let's just make a like an auto buy timer or something. It is kind of unfortunate we have to keep this here. Something needs to consult whether we have this ability. And something would be able to tell if we have this ability, and I could install a timer here. But we need to do it anyway when you load from a saved game. So I guess I'm just going to do this. Private double time until free chest equals double dot max value. All right, so we need to detect once you get this ability, which thankfully we actually already have code for this. Maybe not here. Unfortunately, not here. Darn. If only we did. Oh, wait, no, it's right there. Nice. Okay, awesome. So we just do else if ability ID equals auto purchase. It's not called that. It's called free treasure chest. Then we say time until free chest equals, and we need to get the ability, and we need to get its, I guess we need to get its interval. Get interval. We just pass that in, and we say return free treasure chest interval. Easy. Hey, Thels, how you doing? Okay, then we set this here. This is going to be free treasure chest dot get interval times 60, because this is the interval in seconds technically. So I should probably rename it to in seconds. And then times 60. Wait, why would I do that? What am I talking about? What am I talking about here? Hold on a second. There's no times 60. It's just the number in seconds. Then in process, we do this minus equal delta. And if time until free chest is less than or equal to 0, so like check for an empty slot and purchase a chest. Oh, congratulations, Thels. That is cause for celebration. I think we should all put hats on today in solidarity. Thels can be renamed to Thels with Supremo hat. So check for an empty slot and purchase a chest. Well, not purchase a chest. Put that in quotes. How do we do this? Treasure chest display. I don't want to do this every single frame, I guess. And also, once we purchase it, we need to reset this back to whatever the interval is. So time until free chest. Yeah. All right, so how do we know that there is an empty slot? It's basically this thing's process, which I don't think should be here in the first place. Is this public? It's not. Oh, nothing's easy. We could just make this public. Although this has a cost built in. Maybe there's like a get chest for free kind of thing, which does everything in purchase, but just doesn't subtract buy cost. And presumably also doesn't do this because you didn't really purchase one. Yeah. Except for stats purposes, you might want to know this. It's like number of chests you got. Okay, I think doing this and just passing in the buy cost would be good. So buy cost. And then having this take in whatever buy cost is. Oh my God. I think I'd be able to find it. It's an integer. I don't know why it's an integer. Let's make it a long. Why is it? Yeah, there's no reason for that. Yeah, no reason. Okay, so now this can take in a long. And then the listener can understand what the long buy cost was. And if it was greater than 0, if buy cost is greater than 0, I think I do want to phrase it this way. It's possible you got the chest for free. Okay, now for the remaining bit of this. This is treasure chest display. process. I want this code to not be here, but we don't know the buy cost. But the buy cost is the same for every treasure chest, right? Can't we just compute it? Number of chests purchased. Yeah, that's... Yeah. This is not smart, in my opinion. Okay, let's take a look at where we use this. All right, a bunch of places. I'm thinking of deleting it from here. So then this would be gone. So we just update the button status. This wouldn't be here either. So far we're fine. This would come from the treasure room. This would come from the treasure room. And this probably wouldn't even be here. Is that it? That's it. Okay. Okay, those all make sense. Where does this get called from? Process, which also probably wouldn't be here, except for you can click the dialogue. You click the dialogue, it's got to call purchase, but on this specific thing. You could just make that public and take in whether or not the chest is supposed to be free. Yeah. Yeah, so I got to make a bunch of changes. Let's start with the buy cost one. So it gets removed from here, and the treasure room gets the buy cost. But then this probably needs to be made into a public thing like this. Actually, it's computed every time, right? Why do we even do this? We could just put this here, right? Town exists. Buy cost in challenge mode. That needs to be moved somewhere else. Number of chests purchased is like that. And then the rest of these things go here. And hopefully those were never used anywhere else. Let's go take a look. Just there. Just there. Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, great. Okay, now that needs to go down here. And I guess this is public. And then we got to fix every single instance over here. Yeah. So update by cost. This isn't actually done. This isn't even needed this way, is it? Where is this called? The treasure room can update it, but it's more like updated by cost. Or we just delete this. At which point this is just update options enabled. What do I want to do for this? Yeah, I think I want to just rename this to updated by cost. And it doesn't need this in here. Okie dokes. Now this is town.treasureroom.buy cost. Anywhere else. So purchase treasure chest needs to know if it's free or not. Is free of cost. And if it is, then we do something like that. And then here we delete the underscores. Okay. Anywhere else? Anywhere else is a problem here? Just this, and that should be moved all together. This should also be moved all together. It should know how to fill this in. Come on, I don't want to type out the line. Make me do this. Oh, nice, it knew. Okay, so this gets deleted. And now this entire thing should move. And that was happening in process. So this should only happen after we grant you a free treasure chest. So now this is if auto purchasing is enabled, we go through each of the treasure chests that we have for each treasure chest display. And if the display is not occupied and this is greater than the buy cost, then we call display.purchase, and this would be false. And this would be, well, it's very similar. In fact, it's going to be, well, this should happen for all of them, huh? In case you have all the money, which I guess could be the case. And this is just going to be the first one, and we purchase it like that. And then we break. And we do this. And then this is off. And this is not needed either. So it's, I guess it is much simpler. And we could even change this a little bit. I don't think it's going to get any clearer. So I think that's probably fine. And now this is not public, so we make it public. And then we move the whole thing up to wherever the other public functions are. And I think we're good. Except for this. All right, let's go try that out. So this is going to be a little annoying to test. First of all, we need to go make sure that auto purchasing still works in regular mode, because it doesn't even exist in challenge mode. So we go into regular mode. We give ourselves a ton of money. We get the treasure room. We unlock auto purchasing. Whoops, not that. Auto purchasing. There. Now we turn it on. And now it should buy 2 of these. It did. And now I should turn it off. And we get another treasure chest display. And I can manually purchase. Great. So that all looks like it's working fine. If we were to get auto opening and then make these things all hit the max, they'll all open automatically. And I can turn on auto purchasing. And it should just go into that cycle forever. Although there's going to be 10 minutes in between them unless I debug set them to 0. So yeah, neat. Great. So that's working just fine. Now we go into challenge mode on pirate mode here so that we've got the treasure room by default. And it should cost an increasing amount. So 25 gold, then 28 gold, then 31. Okay, now we're going to do the new code that we have here. So we're going to give ourselves the free treasure chest. And the interval is going to be set to 3 seconds. So once every 3 seconds, you should get a free treasure chest, and it should not increase the cost of the other ones. But this is only assuming you even have the treasure room. So we're going to start, and we don't have it, and nothing should be going wrong here. Oh, yeah. This is working fine. Okay, now we give ourselves a treasure room. And now every 3 seconds, we should get another chest. But the cost should not ever increase. So the 3 seconds getting a chest is not working because we... why is that? Player... Maybe because of this not being hit? It should be hit. Oh, it's not because it technically didn't change level. But we granted it to them. Add ability doesn't call change level? It doesn't. Uh-oh. Oh, God, yeah. Uh-oh. I guess we need to do set ability level and not add ability. Oh, which is not possible, right? Oh, man. All right, well, we could just do this. Change level, ability.id, ability.level. Yeah, that would work. Okay, that was easy. Let's try it. So it should break in immediately. Oh, wait, no. I have to pick pirate mode. I'm not in pirate mode by default. Now it should break in. Yep, perfect. And that means that every 3 seconds we should get a treasure chest now. Yep. And the price should not go up. So this is 25. If I bought one right now, it'd still be 25. If I open these, the next one should cost 28. Yep. Cool. All right. So now we have the free treasure chest thing that can be here. There's no timer that shows on screen for it. It's 3 seconds right now, so 3 seconds is pretty obvious, but it's going to eventually be like a minute or something, maybe 30 seconds. And the way that it works is once it hits 0, so like 3 seconds have passed, but there are no displays open. As soon as one of these displays opens, it will immediately create a new treasure chest there. So once this is done fading out, done, new treasure chest. But if we did that with all 3, it's only going to create on the first one immediately, and then wait 3 seconds, make another one, wait 3 seconds, make another one. Yeah, I like this a lot. All right, they shouldn't all be that hard to code. We needed to refactor a little bit. We needed to keep track of a timer for this. But we should be done with this one, I guess. Is there anything more we need to do there? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Let's get ready to check this stuff in. That looks good. Free treasure chest. This is the interval in seconds. I mean, I guess we can rename it to interval in seconds. Oh. I just realized something important here. This is broken right now. These properties get saved into the JSON data. So that means that if we rename this in the code, we can potentially break save files. Oh, God. We could probably have a name that gets saved for these. I'm going to just write this down in my saving notes. All of the trade-off abilities save their properties, but the names may change over time. So maybe we want to use, there's probably some way to specify this. C# JSON change save name or something like that. How do I change property names? Yeah, this. It's probably just some attribute. This is Newtonsoft though. Where's the non-Newtonsoft way of doing this? There's got to be an attribute. Oh, come on. Particular naming strategy, JSON property. Add an attribute to set it. Yeah, but what's that attribute? So I'm trying to figure out. Here it is. JSON property name. All right, so all of them save it, but the names may change. So maybe we want to make sure to use the JSON property name attribute to make this clearer. So how do we test that really fast? I guess we go into income multiplier since I already granted this by default, and we change this. So I do JSON property name, and then presumably in quotation marks, I just type like, this is a test. And that should work. So all we need to do is just save the file now, and it should get saved as this is a test, :5 or $5, save. All right, where's my save file? I don't have it open. This is, yeah, nice. Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's what we should do. I'm not going to do that now. Although, why wouldn't I? Yeah, why don't I just save this? In fact, why don't we save it as something simple? mult. Yeah. Should we even capitalize it? Does it look good capitalized? Levels capitalized. So yeah, let's capitalize that too. Okay. So I guess we don't really need to write this down. Actually, I did this as we went, but I should probably have some kind of unit test to make sure all properties have this attribute. That way we don't break save files. Use a random UUID. That's a fantastic idea. Free treasure chests. So we'll put this here too. We'll call this interval, I suppose. But it's really going to be interval in seconds. And I guess we'll rename this too. Alrighty. So now what do we have here? Yeah, pretty simple. This doesn't even show up anywhere. Yeah, this doesn't even show up anywhere. All right, what do we got? What do we got? I'm just going to check that in. It's technically not supposed to be part of that. This doesn't need to be used at all. This shouldn't be checked in. This is refactoring the treasure room. I should probably comment on these things. Purchase treasure chest is now public. Okay. Then the treasure room itself. Why is that up there all of a sudden? Time until free chest. Oh, I see. Maybe it should be time until granting free chest or something like that. Yeah. This should be simplified too. So process needs to be simplified and we need to write our commit message. But otherwise, I think this is all looking pretty decent. So treasure room process. Yeah, this should just be grant free chest. And then we delete this. And just put it down here somewhere. Private void grant free chest. All right, this break could just be a return. I guess it doesn't make a difference either way. That's fine, that's fine. Yeah, and the way I was thinking of writing this, I don't think this is probably necessary, but we could do this. Wait, is that a thing? Oh my God, I didn't know that was a thing. Display that treasure chest is null. Isn't that what is occupied does? Yeah. Huh. This gives a list of these. I don't know. We probably should use that. Can we do like this? Treasure chest display dot is occupied? No. All right, that's fine. So the free ones are the ones that aren't occupied. Which, what did this used to say? Treasure chest? Treasure chest. Chest is not null? What, isn't this pointless? This is we're selecting the treasure chest to get these. Oh boy. Okay. I guess. This is just a little unusual. So we pretty much want to get the occupied ones. I guess we could have done this either way. We could have done it this way. We could have got all item displays and then select the ones where display dot is occupied and then select the treasure chest and cast it. Yeah. I think that looks a little bit nicer because now we're not checking for something being null. Anywhere else that we do this? Nope. So then we can simplify this function too. So this is going to give us our first free display. And then if free display is not null, then delete all this stuff. Yeah, that's simpler. Whoops. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Another big chunk is lowercasing though. I would definitely comment on that. I would say, Knit, you seem confused. Are you? Yeah, nice. All right, and then what else in process? I wanted to change maybe this. Like check auto purchasing. Auto purchase chest. Private void auto purchase chest. This is actually only if auto purchasing is enabled. So we shouldn't even do this unless it's enabled. Otherwise we're iterating over this for no reason. Doesn't that look much cleaner? All right. Yeah. Well, this got a lot better. There was one other thing I said. Oh yeah, writing the commit message. Yeah, that's, I mean, obviously still something we need to do. Yeah. Okay, let's go run this another time. Make sure we didn't break something here. You should still be able to manually buy treasure chests, and it should still automatically purchase them for you. There should be no errors if you don't have the treasure room at all. Nothing showing up. That looks good. We go over into pirate mode. We wait 3 seconds. It should purchase a treasure chest. We should be able to buy it manually. We should be able to click this, and it's 28. It hasn't gone up in price. It still lets us buy it. When we open these, it should just put a new one down for us. And there should be no errors for any of this. Yeah, looks good. This is pretty cool. Yeah. This is pretty cool. Why is that still highlighted? Because that doesn't look good. Okay, yeah, apparently that's a bug. Which is if you're hovering over this and it creates a treasure chest there, that is just highlighted forever. Yes, that is a bug. Okie dokie. How do we fix that? This was presumably already a bug, and I just never noticed it. But if we have the treasure room over here, and we have auto purchasing enabled, how would we, I guess we enable that, and then we turn it on, and then we open this, and then hover over the thing. We can't even do that fast enough, though. So this is technically not a bug over here. Yeah, I don't think it's possible to hit this. But it is possible in challenge mode. Okay. The chest spirit is so cool. When was that added? It's a slime in a chest. Whether or not it's a slime in a chest is up to you to figure out. But in my mind, it was not. But yeah, when was that added? I think about a week ago. And I think it's in the playtest version. But yeah, I really like it. All right, how do we do this? Treasure chest display process. So we don't even have a process here now. What allows you to highlight this? Like get outline shader? Guess we should just search for this. Object highlighter. Player held item destination. Oh man, I don't know. Is it there? No. I don't know where we even do this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this is. Highlight. Yeah, it's not called highlight. Outline. Ah, here it is. We disable this, but we don't turn it off. Can we turn it off? Use normal. Set outline visible false. We need to do that. That should technically be part of setting this to be disabled. Or maybe not, I don't know. Well, probably should be. So when it's disabled, we run on mouse exit. I think that makes sense. Set equals true. So now we need some like private bool enabled or is enabled. Set this to true. Or actually just delete that. So get is going to return. Oh, nice. There we go. If not is enabled, then mouse exited. I think that'll fix the bug. Hey, Lupus. How you doing? This is a very peculiar issue here. So we go into pirate mode and we hover over a treasure chest display, and then it'll, oh, now it's not highlighting at all. Oh no, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, I never set this to false. Oh, or true, I mean. Yeah, it's enabled by default. Only auto-implemented properties can have this. Oh, okay, fine. I thought it would then run the setter, which is technically different from just starting this thing at its value. But since what we're doing is only on not enabling it, should be okay. I should probably just default it to pyro mode at some point in all of this testing. All right, so we hover over this. That didn't work. It is calling on mouse exited. Oh, because it says it's not enabled. Oh my God. There. Maybe there was a reason for that. No, I know why the reason was. It was that, well, sorry, yes, there was a reason. And it was because this thing will still have its mouse handlers get hit whether or not it's enabled. But yeah, now I think everything should be working fine. Test it out. Hover over this. The outline should go away. It does not. That means I've still messed up. I don't know how I still messed up. I need to get this within 3 seconds. No. How do we do this? I gotta do this fast enough. I guess we'll set the breakpoint here. I am actually curious why this isn't working because I feel like it should be. It wasn't even hit. What is happening here? What? Why is it not being hit? Not enabled. We set it to false right here when we set the treasure. Oh, I'm setting on the old value. Yeah, you're right. You're right, thank you. It's a good catch. It's a good catch indeed. Except for where'd I put that code? Outline, parent on hover here. If not value. Okay, so now delete all my breakpoints. Gift a point to Matt. The downside of the pirate is that you constantly buy chests or renew them. That's not the downside. That's just a thing that is now possible. Pirate mode just starts you with the treasure room. You could get the treasure room in every specialization, though. Drat. I wanted to see if that worked. I think it should, though. Yeah, nice. It does. Okay, so it's highlighted, and now it's not highlighted. Cool. And then as soon as you open one of these, it should allow you to click them again. Or hover over them, I mean. Yep, nice, 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 nice. It's all working. It looks beautiful. All right, a lot of little things got fixed here. So I got to make sure I write this commit message correctly. Okay, so add free treasure chest ability. The ability itself is pretty straightforward, but there are a lot of things I did. Made sure each trade-off ability, this one and income multiplier, has this on its properties so that they're resilient to name changes in the code. So that one's good. Next up, I guess fixed formatting of income multiplier so that it's bold. Not going to make a separate commit for this. I really should. I don't care. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Made it so that adding an ability to an abilities component triggers changed level. This is so that any trade-off abilities that get added directly will still cause that event to be raised, which was useful for this new ability for free treasure chests. All right, what else did we do? Made it so that disabling an outline parent on hover will run its mouse exit handler. That way treasure chest displays aren't still highlighted or outlined, I guess, after a chest is auto purchased, is granted while you're hovering over it. Oh yeah, this idea is very interesting. It's the closest we'll ever get to real life loot boxes. And I guess the whole point of this is your expected value on average has to be higher than what you pay, or else you wouldn't ever want to do this. but you also need to put in the effort to sell those items or hopefully find something that you actually want to use. And I've heard about this from about Amazon before this, which is like there's just a lot of there's sometimes like trucks full of shipments that just for whatever reason get sidetracked, and Amazon gives those people their like new items, so now that truck has no reason to deliver anymore, and it's just cheaper to sell it wholesale to someone else. Yeah, that's very cool. Now, that said, if the expected value is higher, then it all comes down to there's going to be some equilibrium of how much time are people willing to spend selling this stuff. Otherwise, every single mystery box would sell out like immediately. I've actually heard of stores where they would buy those mystery boxes and then sell all the stuff, and like that's how they get the stock for their store. They're very Amazon dependent business, I guess. Mystery boxes of parts too, which is a fun way for them to get rid of old inventory. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. I think it's kind of a shame when you get a bunch of stuff you don't want and it basically represents work. I do not like selling things online. And I've heard of people who are very, very good at it. Like they list things in such a way that they sell very fast. There's enough trust in whatever part of the process they're using. But I've sold, I think, 2 keyboards online. And I've maybe bought like one thing from a random person online. I'm not even sure if this has ever happened. It probably has. Maybe like a couple things. But yeah, normally I go through storefronts. Totally random boxes. Hey, it's exciting. Changed auto purchasing for the treasure room so that it happens in the room itself, not on individual displays. All right, yeah, nice. Looks good. So that's our commit message. This feature is, whoops, I just closed Twitch chat. This feature is surprisingly extensive. And I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. Well, I don't mean in a bad way either. But when you think of, okay, make trade-off choices, I guess it really does boil down to a few things at a high level, which is design the choices themselves. You need to do this as the game design aspect of it, and then it's code them. Right? So at a high level, that's pretty much what everything is. But the coding them was like generate them properly, track them, render them. And I guess I spent a decent amount of time generating them because of the code design behind it. And then for the choices themselves, we spent a decent amount of time designing them. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of just work to be done. And I've coded 2 of these so far. And I need to code like what, 20, 30, 50, something like that. Okay, so the next one would be change how many adventurers you're allowed per battle. This is pretty, I guess it's pretty easy, except that we need to update a tooltip somewhere. Let's see where that's done. Instance map. Actually, instance data would have it, right? Where is it? Oh, did I just delete this? Oh, there it is. Maximum adventurers. So wherever this is used, we're going to need to add or subtract 1. And we'll only know based on the town because of your abilities. So cheats menu, what is this here for? Oh, that's not needed. I don't care about this. At least I don't think I care about that. Do I care about that? I kind of do. You have to change this to pass in the town, I suppose. Yeah. All right, well, we can do it from there. Can we do it from here? Yes. Where else do we have this? Here. Yes. And one other one. Yeah. Okay, so we need to change this to get max sum adventurers and take in abilities component, player abilities. Yeah. Before I do this, is this too powerful or too, like, there are two effects we could technically do here. We give you plus one adventurer per battle. So the max would be 5 per battle, and minus 1 adventurer per battle. So the max would be 3. Are either of those game breaking? Well, let's start with the plus 1. If you could put 5 adventurers into a battle, would you? I guess you might in modes where your adventurers are not very strong, because maybe you can take on another location. Just for the pirates are unrelated. Everything we're doing here is for trade-off choices. The way this is going to work, and this is very easy to explain, so I'll do this pretty quickly here. Oh, I got to delete this, so I'm going to do that. There. Okay. So regardless of what specialization you choose, so you start the game, you click challenge mode, regardless of which one of these you choose, and regardless of which difficulty you choose, you can unlock town perks. So you click buy, it costs 10 gold, and you're presented with just positive things. So spicy cooking, hardworking adventures, flimsy fish. Maybe some are better for you than other ones, but they're all positive. Every maybe 5 choices, you're going to click buy perk, and it's going to present you with trade-off choices. So now you're going to get a positive and a negative together. And the positive might be something like plus 15% income, and the negative might be something like minus 1 adventurer per battle. So that's pretty hefty, right? 15% more income, but then you got to consider like, ooh, well, I guess I'm going to battle slower though. Maybe I don't have as many battle windows as I need. So the question that we had originally here is, are either of these game breaking? And remember that you might not ever be presented with them. Maybe this is game breaking, but not for you because your adventurers are so strong you don't need 4 in a battle. So if you're already fighting with 2 or 3 to begin with, then it's not going to change too much. Now, there's one other problem here that I just realized, which is you might bump this down by 1, but any ongoing battles you have would still be possible. That's kind of frustrating. Yeah. Note, it's possible that this invalidates an ongoing battle for you. And yeah, note, it's possible that you had 3 windows open and having -1. Possible that we have to close a window if you're at the max already and get -1. Hey, Wem, what's the name for the choice of positive income but 1 less adventure? Just a trade-off. Oh, in the game, we're going to call them, I think we're going to call them twists to the player. I'm not totally sure. So it'd be like buy town perk and buy town perk. And then on the 5th one, you see a twist option there. I've not played since checkpoint 2 and maybe 3, and the thought of having an adventure seems very strong. An extra adventure could also compound or complicate other balancing. Yeah, but the whole point is for it to complicate balancing. I mean, not really in that way, but like give the player interesting decisions and maybe feel like you got a broken run going. But I will say this. So back when you played, it was just the regular mode that you had. So you would play over the course of about 5 hours and everything would play out pretty slowly. Challenge mode is only like 30 to 45 minutes. So maybe we pick industry. We'll start with 4 extra workers and we pick hard mode. And this is going to give us 35 minutes to earn 7,500 gold. So we immediately start with a bunch of workers and we start with 1 adventurer. They're randomized. We send them into battle. And now maybe we want to hire another adventurer. So we pick the rogue this time. We send them into battle. And maybe we want to buy our first town perk. So I buy this and I'm like, oh man, I don't have any of these buildings. But maybe that means that I want to go choose a building. So I pick, okay, the farm. I pick that. And actually none of the town perks would have benefited from that. But yeah, maybe I choose this. Maybe I could re-roll after some amount of time. Thank you, Ken. Seems like a hard evaluation at game start. Is it something you pick after you set up the game? I'm not sure which part of that you meant, but the specializations are the only thing you pick at the game start. And you will have done this after you've beaten the main mode of the game. And you might not start with all of these. So maybe we only give you like 3 of them. And maybe we only have medium mode unlocked. So you could pick between those 3 maybe. Maybe you unlock the other ones as time goes on. But then the trade-offs that I'm talking about, that's going to be after you've bought a certain number of perks. And I expect that if a run takes 45 minutes, we probably want to present trade-offs every so often, maybe like 5 minutes in, and then maybe like 15 minutes in, or 12 and maybe 20 minutes in. So like most of the run will have been determined by then, and then you can just enjoy the run for the remaining 25 minutes. Something like that. Oh, no. The twists are random. So in this case, it's plus 15% income and -1 adventure per battle, but it just as easily could have been something like always harvest all crops at once and -1 adventure per battle. Or always harvest all and -15% income. So I think just letting them get randomly combined is interesting for the player, because you might see some trade-offs that you've just never seen before, as opposed to most trade-offs I've seen in a lot of games are like what you said. You could name them because you know what they're going to be. Where it's like, okay, well, we're giving you fewer adventures, but you're making them more powerful. So they're like 2 sides of the same coin. I just want to sound like Kidney. +1 to Kidney. Downside, your workers drop caltrops, slowing down customers. Yeah, it hurts the customers. Why do you want to hurt the customers? Be cool to give them 3 positives. That's essentially what's going to happen, but not exactly. So instead of by perk giving you 3 positives, imagine this is a random positive and negative, this is a random positive and negative, and this is a random positive and negative. So that's sort of what you said. It's not exactly, because you can't take the positive from this and the negative from this. But I think it's too powerful if you can mix and match them completely. Because at that point, you're going to say, which is the strongest positive and which is the least impactful negative, and then pick those. Also, it would increase your decision-making time probably. So I like the idea that you're picking from some predetermined choices. With that said, what you determined could, or what you proposed could work as well. I just think it's probably slightly more fun to constrain your choices. I also don't want there to be cognitive overload in this mode. And we're already adding a lot of complexity. All right, what was I going to do? I was going to go add in the new ability ID. Oh, right, that's right. I would need to stop a battle that is then invalid. I'm not even sure if it's worth doing that. I like the idea of -1 adventurer per battle, but I think the run should probably start with that being the case. Yeah, I wrote it out here, though, as a negative. We can do this. It's just we need to disable a battle. Like, what happens when you had all the adventurers and you send 4 of them into the forest or something, and then you're presented with that perk, the trade-off, and it says -1 adventurer, and it's just like, boop, your window's closed. You might not realize that that happened, or why that happened. I'm so torn. Do they return after they fight? Yeah, they return. You'd just be able to start another battle. So now it would say this is invalid. You have too many, and you'd click and you just remove one and then send them back into battle. I'm just saying you'd have to know that it canceled your battle, because there's going to be a lot going on, I assume, and I think telling you that it canceled the battle is going to be something you miss, or that it will cancel the battle. You could view that as a min-max. You can leave the battle with the incorrect number, but as soon as you stop it, you can't repeat it. Well, as soon as you stop it, like, it goes to auto repeat. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, we just turn this off because it's invalid at that point. Yeah, we just need a special UI state to indicate that, I suppose. Maybe we can let the battle finish. but just not allow for restarting it. Yeah. Disable auto battle and rebattle, indicating party needs adjustments. We've never had a reason to disable the repeat button, though. So we need to disable it and be like, you have to edit your party. Okay. Yeah, I guess we could do that. Hey, Hagerman thanks. Yeah, how's your game going? So here's what I'm debating on. The actual debate is we're going to need like 50 of these things anyway. Should I be starting with one that's hard to code? Like this is a feature unto itself. It'd be easy to just allow you to add one adventurer. Or we could allow you to subtract one and just not do anything special. I guess it would I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Let's just code it. Why not? So what should we say? Something like different adventurer limits. Modify adventurer battle limit. I'll just do that. Yeah, whatever. The different adventurer limits. So let's say I get offered -1 for future battles. I can see that. Go start a battle with 4. Take the perk with the downside. Then know I can't stop them without losing the 4 of them in the field. Well, I think after the first battle ends, it would just stop it for you. Also, this probably shouldn't affect bosses. Although I guess it could. I probably shouldn't think about that right now. Focus more on what sounds interesting. More likely than not is the harder ones to code. Yeah, this one sounded interesting. Should probably just do that. Goblin shoes. They move faster. Downside, goblins do 5% more damage. Goblins do insta-kill attacks. Seeding game and how it feels with those first. Well, it's too late. We already wrote out this one line of code, so now I think we're committed. I'm going to do this one. But yeah, I think we gotta consider how long it's going to take to add all of these. So this is different adventurer limits. This does not require you to have any building, so we can just say none here. This property is going to be delta, I suppose. Delta, delta, delta. Set it to 0, I guess, by default, which means it's not doing anything. So get delta. There we go. Okay, this one's got to be a little bit different because we got to put a sign on this. Can we do that? Is there a way to figure out that it's positive? There should be like a math.sign property, right? Math.sign. Yeah. Returns an integer that indicates the sign of a decimal. What? Decimal.sign. It returns 0 or 1. Okay. Okay, so what do we do here? String symbol, sign symbol. No, you know what we should do? We should just make another function that does this for us. So instead of format number, we'll do public static string format signed number, string number. The same as, I'm going to let this type this out for me, format number string, except that it includes the sign. Oh, well, no. It should be called format delta then, right? No, I think it's fine. Doesn't matter. Plus or minus. Okay, so string sign symbol equals. This thing could probably just write this for me, right? No, it does not. Excuse me. I hiccuped as I laughed. So the sign of the, oh, I guess in this case it does need to be an integer, huh? Or not necessarily an integer, just any number. What is the decimal type in C sharp? Implements a decimal data type. Can represent values ranging from this to this. I don't know. Honestly, this could just be a double or something. Well, what are we using it for? We're using it for an integer. I'm putting a lot more thought in this than I need to. Let's just make it an integer for now. Okay, so math.sign number equals 0, question mark, plus, otherwise, minus. I'm not even totally positive that's correct, so let's go try that out. Math.sign 5, math.sign -5. 1 and -1. Okay, so that is not what I thought it was. So if it's 1, then it's positive. Yeah. 0 for no sign. Yeah, I guess we should really check that. So if it's 1, then it's a positive. Otherwise, that sign number, sign switch. There we go. Okay, cool. That's what I want. All right, so it's going to be format signed number delta. It should probably just be called format delta still. And then this is going to be a number here. Okay, delta. We call this different adventurer limits. It's a stupid name. But allow delta adventurer per battle. There's only ever be -1 or 1. Which is why we don't need to worry about pluralizing this. Okay, so there's the ability. Now let's grant it to the player. Town challenge mode. So we're going to put this here. Different adventurer limits. Let's set it to -1. Then in instance data, we're going to have this be a get that takes in an abilities component. Just say AC here. All right. So this is the base max. And we're going to return the maximum. You got to have at least 1 of that and the base max plus the delta. All right, so that's good now. Now every one of these things needs to change. So we used to have just .max num adventurers, and all of these are different now. This code isn't going to work anymore. Just going to ignore that. Get max num adventurers with the town ability player abilities. Yeah, we pretty much just replace all of these, huh? Oops. Well, okay, let's see how this works. So this is only granted at the beginning. So I think this is coded correctly and should just work, but it's because we don't grant it in the middle of a run. I think we have another. Yeah, I remembered something like that. I just didn't remember where we did it. I guess here. I number T. And it's got to be something that lets us get the sign of it. Which, yeah, maybe we could do. Let me try that. Public static string format delta I number. Wait, where is that? I guess just T. Number where T is I number. Okay, so I wanted to do the same thing that the other code has. Can we do that? T could not be found because what I need to put this inside of a parameterized or a genericized class. No, because I just need to do that. Cannot convert from T to decimal. There's probably some way to do that. But I don't know what it'd be here. We did not write that, no. Yeah, there's like special ways of doing this. T dot 0. T dot create checked. I number base. There's absolute. Is there a sign here? Oh, there's is negative. Is there is 0? Is 0? There is 0 is negative. Okay, so we could do this then. So we could say string sign symbol equals string dot empty. And then if number dot is, how do you do this? T dot is negative. And then pass in the number. Is this valid code? Sign symbol equals negative. It is valid. Else if it's positive. And then the T dot absolute number. Wow, nice. Yeah, that works. Hey, who cares? Okay. Yeah. Could also keep the switch expression. Oh yeah, that's true. I could do that. String sign symbol equals. Wait, how would I do that? There's probably a way. I don't know. I don't care. It's fine. We're gonna keep this. So let's delete this. And this, I'll just comment out for now, but we're probably gonna get rid of it and then change this to format delta. All right, like I said, this should already be working. So if we go into the instance map now, the forest should allow for 3 adventures. Did I restart this? I probably did. It's probably not working. What? Who cares? No, this did not work. Did I not add the delta correctly? It says -1. So we go to instance data. Oh, I think it forms these and then never updates them. Oh, man. Yeah, we got to update these. Oh, I don't want to do that. So I think the tooltip is wrong, but I think if we tried sending in too many adventurers, yeah, it says this only allows for 3. So we can't start a battle there. The canyon is only going to allow for 1, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3. Why is that spaced weirdly? Okay, so this does work, and I guess what we could do is try changing this to +1 now. Oh, but thy would mean the person you're talking to. You mean your birthday. Yeah, happy birthday. All right, let's write this down. Wish them happy birthday every year. There. Yeah, what are your plans? All right, so now we can send in 5 adventurers to the forest. Why does that not work? Did I not restart? I don't remember if I restarted. Well, now I definitely restarted. So this should allow for 5. Nice, it does. Yeah, interesting. And that means that the canyon allows for 3. Also interesting. Gonna be heading out pretty soon. Gonna go camping. Nice. I hope you have a good time. Yeah. This is kind of cool. I like this. We need to update the tooltips, and we need to eject you from a battle at some point if this is granted mid-run. Need to update tooltips after this is done, and need to eject you from a battle. Not eject you from it, but prevent repeating a battle that would no longer be doable. Let's try to get the first one of those working. So instance map has a bunch of tooltips, and there's a way of setting these up, which I think is in it. Yeah, set up locations. Is that what does this? Initialize map marker. No, not that one. This one? Update instance tooltip. Yeah. Isn't there something that does this for all of them? No. But we could just do it for all of them. Yeah, we could. You have 5 in a party with both the Spirit Caller and the Witch Doctor. That's 1 less minion. If you have 5 in a party and you have the Spirit Caller and they have all their spirits, the Witch Doctor wouldn't be able to summon zombies. So it'd be a bad idea for you to do that. Right? I'm pretty sure that's how that would work. Because you have the 5 adventurers, so you have 4 slots remaining. And how many does the Spirit Caller have? Dog, cat, snake, fairy. Yeah, they have 4. Yeah, so you wouldn't have any space for zombies. And it's not until the Spirit Caller dies that you would. And the Witch Doctor does literally nothing if they have no zombies. They have no other abilities. So it would be a bad party to put in. Yeah, I think we need to make the battles harder in general, so that for challenge mode, it's unlikely you'll ever beat the Inferno. And maybe even unlikely that you even get past like the 4th location or something. It's a nerf to take it. Not positive, it's actually a negative. All right, so we're going to have to update all of these at some point. We don't have a listener, presumably, for when the player gets a new ability, but everything else does. So let's just go add that in. Player, ability, change level. Yep, here. So get this, put it in instance map, in init. Get this. And we need ability ID. So if it's equal to, what did I call this thing? Differing adventure levels, yeah. Then we need to reset all of the instances tooltips. Where do we do that? Here. I guess it's just the ones that are unlocked. I don't actually know how that works. No, they're all unlocked. But what does it look like if you hover over something that's not unlocked yet? It does tell you the max adventure, so it doesn't matter if it's unlocked or not. We need to just go through every single instance ID. So let's just search for 4 each in here. We presumably do this somewhere. Get battle instances. This is not the fishing pond, though. We technically need it to be all instances, because doesn't the fishing pond tell you how many adventurers you can send there? And now you could fish with 5 adventurers? It doesn't. Oh, interesting. But it does have a limit, right? Huh. Yeah, the tooltip just doesn't tell you. Okay, well, if it doesn't tell you, then no reason to do anything special there, I guess. So this is going to be instance ID. Okay. All right, so now the tooltips should be correct, and it will not prevent you from repeating a battle. We're going to do that part next. Hopefully it's not too hard to do. So these should all say 5 on them now. Yeah, max adventure is 5. Wait a second. Why didn't it let me put them in the fishing pond then? Oh, I don't have the fishing pond. Let's go get the fishing pond. There. So we should be able to put 5 in here, right? Yeah, we can. So stupid. Like, we could make a constraint that said, or a trade-off thing that said, like, fish have 5,000 life, and you need to send all of your adventurers in. I guess there could be predetermined trade-offs. We could have a trade-off like fish have 200% more life, and fish are worth 50% more sludge. I don't think it's super interesting. But yeah, maybe there's a game where you take this one because you're like, oh, it's toward the end of the game. I'm already doing a ton of damage. So I could just get more of this. But then why would you care? Because you don't need wisdom sludge at that point. All right, so we updated tooltips. Now let's go do the second part of this. So here's what we have to do. We have to put a unhandled input. I'm going to type page up. I'm going to delete that and not do that and put that here. Okay, so this is going to make it so that you can have one adventurer less than what you could have had. And when you do this, I want to see what happens because I have no idea. Maybe it just works. It would be incredibly impressive if it did, but I think it's going to produce an error that will probably put you in a state you can't deal with because this just never existed in the game. So it's going to say right off the bat, 4 adventurers. I'm going to press page up, and now it says 3. I'm going to press it again, and it's still going to say 3. Okay, well, that was just me testing. That shouldn't have done anything special anyway. All right, so we go start a battle with 4 adventurers. And then I press page up. And now only 3 are allowed. So what happens when they finish this battle? That's what I thought. It's probably spewing errors. It gave 1 error. Too many adventurers starting an instance. Okay. Too many adventurers. So what could we do here? We could change this to just... We could change it to just close the instance slot, right? And then you just have to figure it out. I think what we should probably do instead, though, is not close it and just turn off auto battle and not throw an exception. So can we turn off auto battle here? Auto battle. Instance slot dot auto repeat. Does that happen automatically? What happens if we just do this? Return null? What even is this? Create or get instance slot. Let's just put a breakpoint here. Let's not ask any of these questions. It'll just be easier to see. Because the UI doesn't let you do this, or didn't. And now I guess it does. So if we do that and hit start and then hit page up and then hit this, yeah, it goes here immediately. Okay, so what's happening? Here it's trying to create a slot because 1 doesn't exist. This is -1. This is 0. No, walking to portal was a slot. So it is trying to reuse a slot. And then what does return null do for us? Like what state are we in the game right now? It's just stuck. Yeah, they're stuck. This won't be easy. Because if they're walking to the portal, we would need to close it, I guess. Because they could never start their battle. But do we even know that they're walking to the portal? I guess we could through this. So if this thing exists, we could change that. If this is not null, then close instance slot. There is no instance slot. What if we just delete this? What happens then? So now nothing's going to even stop this. It's just going to return the slot. Presumably, it's going to start the battle. And I would need something else to figure this out, I guess. So I do this. I send them in here. I hit page up. I hit start. Yeah, they're just in the battle. Now if I turn on repeat, yeah, nothing stops them. But I wonder if this is the place where this should be stopped. Maybe not. Maybe whatever code would have used the slot should then be updated. Do I have this open still? I don't. Hey, Spike. JS developer, I'm interested. Well, just to be clear, you don't need to be a developer for this. The playtesting part is just as a player, how do you feel about the game? But yeah, if you are interested, there's the document on it. We would be happy to have you. The steps are very simple. It's pretty much just join the Skeleseller Discord and then DM me, and I'll send a key over. But it's slightly more than that. It's like the expectations are that you'll play at some point, that you'll be very vocal with your feedback. The goal is pretty much to test challenge mode right now. I'm in the process of coding some stuff that I have not pushed yet. So it's probably worth holding off for at least maybe a day or two. You could always try it sooner. I think it's, moderately fun, but I think it's going to get more fun once this is done. All right, so I want to go back to instances manager. And I want to put a breakpoint here, I guess. And then I want to, oh, nice, it already broken. I want to figure out what would the caller do. The slot is not null. So it's just going to try to start a battle pretty much. Oh, man, the easiest thing to do here would just be to close this completely. Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do. So if we already have the instance slot, which I guess is the whole thing that this is trying to do, otherwise the UI would have stopped you from doing this. Yeah, so I got to do this, and then I guess this. And then put this here. If not, then we throw an exception saying you can't start a battle with too many. And then this is going to complain because this is used somewhere else. Why is this red? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, fine. We need to name it something else. Slot 2. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So in this case, we just need to close it because the battle can't start. But if that's not the case, then it means that we just wouldn't be able to restart the battle. So we'd have to turn auto repeat off. I think that might be sufficient, but I think this code is super ugly. It's just, yeah, it's just ugly. So let's go test it. We try sending 4 adventurers into a battle that we then make into a 3 adventurer battle. So when they make it to the portal, it should just close the window and won't even tell you why. It didn't close the window. It started the battle. I guess that would actually be okay, as long as it can't restart the battle. And they can, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is false. Or maybe I messed something else up. No, this is happening. So walking to portal is null. So it should set auto repeat to false. I guess it shouldn't let you start the battle, right? Is this even a thing you can do? It should be a thing you can do. I guess in this case it's on the end battle screen. So we should eject them from the portal. I'm thinking we just close the instance slot no matter what. Why should an already created instance adhere to new abilities? Because the ability is a game changer. Like, let's say you had 10 adventurers allowed per battle, and we cut it down to 2. Should that battle you already had running, should it just be able to keep running forever? I don't think so. It represents that you're doing something at like 5 times the power you should have been allowed. And like I said, the easiest thing, I think we just do this and it would work, but it's just not clear to the player what's happening. But maybe that's our starting point for this. Whenever you try creating an instance and you have too many adventurers in it, that we just eject them all. So what happens now? We send 4 into here, but only 3 are allowed. We speed this up. They should just pop right back out of the portal and close this window. They still don't. Oh, because I'm not returning from here. Yeah. This is... Okay, so they should not be able to actually start the battle now. Yeah, so it just closed it, and now they can start a battle, but now it won't let me put 4 into that. Only allows for 3. Oh, that was actually a little bit of a bug, right? I had to click this again for it to update. Yeah, I had to click it again. Okay, we got to fix that too. You currently have to select an instance again for it to update the error message about having too many adventurers. Yeah, so I can't send new ones in. So let's say we did that again, and let's say they'd already finished a fight. So if I just click create instance, does it, what if I do this? Yeah, nice. Okay, so it sends those in. Now I press this and I win the fight. And now it's going to try to repeat them, but it's just going to fail and exit them all. So yeah, this is the worst UX of this. Can you pop up some message? I could say like an instance slot was closed because it had too many adventures, or like a battle window was closed because you had too many adventures in it. And I guess we'd have to do something like that. Yeah, at the very least, it would simplify this. All right, so if I do this, it's not going to know that I have too many characters until I click again. That's another thing I'm going to have to fix. All right, so let's pop up a thing then. Town dot create ephemeral notification. Text is going to be a battle window had too many adventurers. Close due to having too many adventurers. And we need a color here, colors.red. And then delete this stuff. And then here what we can do is we can say existing instance slot. Existing slot. So if existing slot is not null, and same thing is not null, just return it. This should just be impossible from the UI. Yeah. What about ejecting adventures from an instance? Otherwise, it seems like there might be a class of abilities like this that shouldn't be allowed because they break the game intent. I don't think it should end an ongoing battle. I think it should just stop future battles from happening. I'm also not certain we're going to keep this. And even if we keep it, we might change the UX about it. So it could happen any number of ways. So if this turns out to be a fun idea, then we can make it a little bit more polished in the future. Then again, I don't even know how many people are going to be confused by this. It's possible we do this and they're just like, oh yeah, of course that wouldn't work. I had 4 adventures in there. I don't know. So yeah, let's try this out again. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit page up. And as soon as they try all making it into the portal, it should show a dialogue here saying that the battle was closed. Yeah, the battle window was closed due to having too many adventures. Okay, well, that's good enough for right now, I guess. So this is done, and this one is you need to have an instance. You need to click it again. So the instances map has some like instance map. What is this called? Yeah, there. Selected instance. Where do we invoke that? Right here. Set selected instance ID. And this updates the label. I think we need to do the update label part of this. Oh, that doesn't work. No, there's something that says you have too many adventurers. Too many. Where's the error message? Where is the error message? Is that in battle map? Battle panel error message? Error label. Yeah, looks like it's here. Yeah, here it is. You need at least 1 adventurer in your party, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it sets start button state. What calls that? Selected instance. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So we just set that to whatever's currently selected. Set selected instance ID. Update the error message. So now we should have fixed pretty much all of this. This didn't take terribly long, but I don't think it's the best UX, but I think it's good enough. Okay, so now what happens is we have 4 in here. I'm going to press page up, which is going to lower the limit to 3. And yeah, now this pops up. This location only allows for 3 adventurers. So you can't start a battle. Yeah. Hey, Code Girl, welcome in. And thanks for the raid. Welcome, everybody. What were you working on? Hey, Lithium. And hey, MDBM. We are making a game called Skeleseller here. So much to do. Working on a system design game in JavaScript. A system design game? Is this for the sake of interviews? Hey, little pointer. Because I've heard of games for all sorts of different coding or coding adjacent abilities. Like I've heard of regex games and CSS games, and then of course various gamified ways of learning coding too. But I've never heard of them for system design. That's pretty interesting. Do system design like in interviews, only you have to drag and drop GUI and it looks really good. Huh. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd have to look into more. By the way, feel free to share links if you want to anything you're potentially working on. I mean, you could share it to this thing too, but presumably you don't have too much of a vested interest in that. Yeah, this is Skeleseller. So this game, it's an idle-like, laid-back game in its regular mode. You hire adventurers, you send them into battle, they fight automatically for you, and then they earn items from battle and you sell them in your town. So like these characters are going to eventually win this battle, and out of the portal will pop some items. So we got some potions, and I can bring these to my shop, or my little skeleton worker can bring them to the shop, and then customers will come and buy this stuff. And it's the typical like sort of RPG structure. You go through different locations, you find better and better loot, you level up your adventurers, you build out your town. But what we're working on is challenge mode. This is still a bit rough around the edges and it's not publicly playable yet. You start this mode by picking a specialization. So maybe you want to start with more adventurers than just one. And you pick a difficulty level, and I'm not going to go through what these are. But so now what we started with is a set of many adventurers. We have the Mushroom, the Rogue, and the Witch Doctor, and maybe they got some random skills here too. And there is now an objective of get a certain amount of gold in a certain amount of time. So what we're working on, we have the ability for you to unlock perks in the game, but the perks are all upside. So like this gives you more fish in your pond. This makes your workers move faster, and this makes your warehouse bigger. What we're trying to do is add in trade-off abilities or trade-off like choices. So the way this is going to work is each one will have one positive choice or one positive effect, I guess, and one negative effect. So the positive might be like plus 15% income, and the negative one might be like enemies are 50% stronger. So it's like, yeah, okay, the income's obviously a good thing, but can I handle enemies that are stronger? So you'd have to decide as a player, and then hopefully you don't like soft block yourself, and you're like, oh, I can't even win a single battle now. We don't have this ability in the game yet, but I've started working on it. But unfortunately, for you to have a choice of 3 things, that means we need 3 positives and 3 negatives. And ideally, we have more than just these 6 total things. So at this point, we're just trying to code as many of these as we can, and we're up to, I think, like 3 total. Is that a corn? Yeah, that is a corn keyboard. So that's where we are for most of today. It's going to be working on the trade-off system and then getting them to show up and getting them to generate and everything. So what I just coded now, the new trade-off things that we're working on, we have an income multiplier, so that could be positive or negative. Free treasure chest, that can only be positive. And different adventure limits, that can be positive or negative. Excuse me, we could say treasure chest costs more. I don't think it's probably super interesting. Also, technically, you could get offered some of these things that then negate the other ones. I need to code those into at some point. Where even is that? Design, I will generate these. Pick a positive that you don't already have and isn't in the other choices already. We also probably need to prevent you from, well, I don't know about that. What would happen if we said treasure? No, yeah, I think this is probably fine. Okay, so this has been coded, and I think we tested everything we need to test with it. Yeah, I don't even have any other adventures. So we can send 4 characters in here. We lower the limit. They'll just pop out of the portal, and it's going to give us an error message now. Oh, they're all coming from over there. Yeah. And then you would just start this again, I suppose. But this time with fewer adventurers. Yeah. We have items to reduce negatives. I don't think so. Like, let's say you were offered... Do I still have that open? I don't even think I have that open anymore. Yeah, let's say you were offered negative 15% income. Like you'd have to make a decision of, is the positive enough to overcome that negative? And in this particular case, this is very negative because the whole way you win is by getting enough income. So to lower that is to potentially make you lose. But let's say the positive that you got here was like plus 200% adventurer power or something like that. It's like, okay, I'm getting less income per item, but I'm winning battles way faster. So maybe now that's how you overcome that. And if you don't think this is going to work for you, you would just pick one of the other options. Now, maybe those are also bad, but probably one of them is at least innocuous, if not good. And you'd be able to like plan your path through the rest of the run. Also, some roguelike games just kind of don't have an easy way for you to win them with all choices. Like, let's say you take a sort of like a pro player for any roguelike game. Maybe we're talking about Hades here. Maybe we're talking about Slay the Spire. And you're like, I'm going to make the first 5 choices for you. And my goal is to make you lose. I think some games will let them recover. But other games, you might be able to make bad enough choices that they just can't win the match anymore. And it does kind of point to that if your choices are going to matter, then presumably the first 5 choices should also matter. Depending on how many choices you're making, it might not be such a big deal. Like it is for Vampire Survivors. I assume really good Vampire Survivors players are unimpacted by whatever the first 5 choices are. Like you could probably still salvage any run. But maybe that's not true. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to illustrate a point here of I think there will be some cases where you make enough bad decisions that you can't salvage it. And I think that's not a bad thing. So let's go check this in. So we added different adventurer limits. This stuff all looks fine. That's set to none, right? Yep. All right, we don't even use the description of the name anywhere. This is good. This is good. We are modifying elite battles too. This is fine for now. This isn't the best UX, as I mentioned, but yeah, I don't know what else we would do here. This would indicate a UI problem. I'll just write note. This isn't the best UX, but it's costly to change the UI for both the walking to portal states and the end of battle. To indicate what went wrong. Yeah. You want choices to matter all the way through. Otherwise, a portion of the game just becomes a mindless grind. Yeah, I agree with that. But I think the first choice you make in any roguelike, you could probably pick anything and it's not going to like totally shaft your run. Because any roguelike run in most games are going to be a combination of probably at least more than 10 choices, right? But probably more like 30 choices when you win. So does the first one matter? Maybe. But it's probably not unrecoverable. That was my only point, I guess. I guess, so in StarCraft, I guess, let's say, I guess the equivalent there would be if I choose your build order, but only up until like 1 minute into the game. Is there an order you can choose for a pro StarCraft player where they're just going to lose the game always now? I guess if you said build nothing, but assuming that you didn't say build nothing, right? Like there's probably no way to make a pro player just guarantee a loss. Now, if you said I'm going to pick your build order up to 10 minutes, then yes, you could almost certainly guarantee a loss. You'd be like, I'm just going to build carriers or something, and you don't even get to that point because they rush you and kill you. All right, so we're not going to keep this in here. This was just for testing. Yeah. So I can check in the other things so far. That's fine. That's fine. That is fine. Oh, that means that this is aware of the new adventurer limit. 3 adventurers. So if I just click create instance, yeah, nice. I'll let you make unrecoverable decisions right away. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think there probably is a roguelike game out there where the very first choice you make can be like you just lose the run. I'd be very surprised. There are sometimes bad options, but I think if you're a good enough player, you should be able to overcome the first X number of bad options. And X is going to change per game, but it should never be like 0 is the lowest you can make it. Yeah, this is fine. This we're not checking in. This we're not checking in. This we're not checking in. This stuff we are. Yep. This we are. This is 2. And finally, this was to make this generic. This is format delta. I guess we'll delete this. Did it work? I have no idea if it worked because I could never test this. But we should be able to test it here. So I make this class. Where does I number come from? It is in system numerics. Oh, that was weird. Is that not correct? Semicolon expected. There's a semicolon. What? What's going on here? What? I'm confused by what this thinks is wrong. Oh, it works. These aren't even real errors. That's weird. What if I just delete and paste it back in? Yeah, they're just gone. Okay, well, that's weird. All right, so format delta. Format delta. Oh, this isn't totally correct. This is working, but I meant to bold this, and I think I just checked it in. Oh, and it's saying +0. That's not correct. If it's negative or if it's positive, how is it adding in a plus sign? 0 isn't positive. I guess we have to explicitly check for 0 then. Is 0 symbol equals string dot empty? Else sign symbol equals plus. Yeah, wow, weird. That's very strange, right? I guess I know there's a concept of signed 0, like you can have plus or minus 0. I just didn't expect it to be for an integer that would happen. Do you want to have 0 have a sign? If not, I think you may need to check is 0. Yeah, that's what I just realized. And I also realized that I messed up something else here too, which is that one of these things should call into the other function. This should be format number. Yeah, so that looks better. And then the sign symbol needs to change here. If it's 0, then do string.empty. Otherwise, sign symbol is going to be a positive sign. And then delete this. There's a way to turn this into a switch expression. I just don't remember how. Yeah, I don't know how you do this. There's probably some way. I should look this up. Oh, also has a switch syntax. I don't know why they made that syntax so confusing. String sign symbol. Remove this useless assignment. Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you. I guess technically we can just delete this, right? And just set this to positive and then delete this one. Because if it's not 0 and it's not negative, then it must be positive. All right, I guess let's try this out over here and just make sure I didn't bork this. Run. Yeah, looks good. And just to make sure that I actually ran what I expected, I'll change that to 6. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. All right, so check this in too. close down perks button. Cool. Okay, so add different adventurer limits ability. This, I'll see what that is. Oh yeah, I wrote in the code that the UX of trying to repeat a battle. Oh wait, isn't there? There's another case I didn't technically try, which I think is straightforward enough, but I should probably try it, which is that you have 4 adventurers in a place and they don't have auto battle on, and then you lower the limit and you click repeat. And it says your party is walking to the portal, but they're going to get there and then it's going to close the window. Yeah. Okay. So at least it doesn't totally fail there. Hey, Axel. It's going pretty well. It's definitely going better than yesterday. We're making progress. One of the things I always kind of wonder about is like how much time will it take before I can get the next playtest version out? And I'm gonna spend another probably like 3 hours working on this stuff today, maybe longer than that. But I don't think that's enough time to make enough of these trade-off abilities. And it's just a shame. Also, I guess technically anytime I generate this choice, I need to look through all the abilities you've had and then figure out which ones are positive, which ones are negative, and which ones are then valid based on the ones you've already seen. When you try entering what was previously a valid battle, but there are no like catastrophic states now. Okay, commit that. All right, so where did we leave off? So we're done with this, we're done with this, we're done with this. Every time you cast a spell, you duplicate X items in your warehouse. I guess it's kind of interesting, but maybe there's a better formulation of that. Do I even have that written down here? I don't. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, I do have it written down. I don't know about this one. Let me think of how I would code this. It's pretty much just when a spell is cast, I guess the warehouse would then listen to it and then just pick random items and duplicate them. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be that hard to do. But this requires that you have the warehouse and the enchanter. And for it to be a positive means that X needs to be high enough. And it's just another source of items at that point. I saw a new screen there for the heroes. Yeah, this UI is very new in the game. And I think it looks great. It's fantastic. This is not yet in the demo or in the playtest version. I don't think I want to do this one right now, but more enemy health and power or less enemy health and power, I think those would be interesting. So I guess let's go do that. Aren't there constraints, though? Those are things that the specializations do. I wonder if the constraint system should have been changed to just be using abilities, too. Except for the constraints access data that's totally static. Because they're either set or not set there. Let me think about this. Challenge mode constraint. This just has a get the hunger multiplier. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sure. All right, let's go add this new one in. Ability ID. What are we going to call this? Like enemy stat change, enemy stat multiplier. Yeah, it does look a lot nicer. I like it. I think there are some things that now kind of stand out as being probably room for improvement, like this menu on the left side. And then, of course, all the challenge mode stuff. I did this as quickly as possible. This was never supposed to be the final UI, but this looks pretty bad. And then ending a challenge run also looks pretty bad. It just shows this business succeeded. There's like no fanfare. I still think the most important thing when you're making a game is to make sure that what you're doing is fun before you start polishing it. And sometimes I think the fun is going to be tied to the polish. Like if you were to make, what's that game? Geometry Wars? Like this game is really simple, but the visuals I think really added the fun. And I wonder if you just play this game in a, like, no particle effects, no cool colors or anything. Every enemy is just a square. Like, how fun would it be? And it would still probably be fun. But what portion of it comes from the visuals? And there are games that are sort of based on the visual effects, like Tetris. I think the Tetris effect is the name of a game, right? Is it not Tetris effect? Tetris effect. Yeah, this was just Tetris with cool visuals. That was the entire point of the game. Everyone's played Tetris already, but not everyone's played this version of it. And it's not even like the Tetris part of it was different. It's just the visuals, I think the music. So yeah, kind of interesting. Okay, Martinez. Make a basic hack and slash constructed from shapes, triangles, and other things. Yeah, you could. And like I said, I think it'll be at least somewhat fun. If you ever look at the betas for video games that you've played, and sometimes they're not like totally easy to find, but like Slay the Spire has all of its beta art in the game, and the beta art looks terrible. Like pretty bad. Like this looks like an MS Paint drawing that was done pretty quickly, right? That's what they had in the beta version of the game, I guess. Now, that is just the card art. So you could have nothing there and the card would still do everything it's supposed to do. That's just balance. But like, yeah, that artwork, there's some amount of your fun that comes from seeing cool artwork. For Slay the Spire, it's probably not crazy, but it's non-zero. The music is amazing. Yeah. I'm sure it's a fun experience. I think I played it for a little bit. I think my favorite version of Tetris, or maybe versions. Wait, what happened here? Tetris versions I liked a lot. Tetris 99 was really cool. And if you count this, Tetris Attack, the Super Nintendo game, that was so much fun. Love that game. It does not look like Tetris anymore. It's a match 3 game instead. And then Tetris 99 was the one where you're playing against a lot of other people. And it's a battle royale. And that was a lot of fun too. Hey, Brainoid. Tetris Attack. All right, so enemy stat multiplier. Let's go code this one. There's going to be like income multiplier. Oh, wait, I never changed the property name on different adventures, did I? No, I did. Okay. All right, enemy stat multiplier. This doesn't require anything. Multiplier set to 1. Just be like compute stats. I mean, I guess it's just a multiplier for what? Power and health? So this could just be get multiplier. And just return this, I guess. What's the problem here? This has to be a float. All right, tooltip. Yep, sure. Multiplies enemy power and health by some percentage. Yeah, that's it. All right, so now coding this is, we're just going to multiply this here, but we don't actually have a way of getting the abilities, do we? Oh, we do. Okay, well then that's very easy. So does this work for fish as well? Stat multiplier. Create battler by enemy ID. Fish battle system. Create enemy battlers. Spawn fish. Create battler by enemy ID. Yeah, it should. Okie dokie. So how do we do this? We do float like enemy stat multiplier from trade-off equals get this. Get ability or default. This works. Wow, crazy. Okay, sure. So yeah, we got to multiply the power multiplier times that and the life multiplier by that. We're not multiplying fortitude. I'm not actually sure why we wouldn't, but yeah. How have you been? I've been doing pretty well. I've, I know you've talked about marketing a lot, but I feel the frustration with some of this stuff. I've gotten more YouTubers to cover Skeleseller, but I feel like the stats have all been dwindling. And it kind of makes me wonder if it's even worthwhile for me to spend my time this way. Like, should I just be making content at some point? But I do like some of the videos that have come out of this, and I've watched all of them. The other funny thing I've kind of noticed is that if someone makes an AI generated thumbnail, I think they do a little bit better than if they don't have an AI generated thumbnail. This is an interesting enough thumbnail. It's AI generated. Uh, this is not AI generated, but it's a custom thumbnail at least. But these are like the more kind of basic thumbnails, and those videos didn't do as well. Wondering, hasn't your code base gotten very complicated? Do you ever regret having coded the game a certain way? I think it's gotten more involved. I don't necessarily think the complexity of any particular piece of it has gotten too crazy. Some parts could be refactored, and I generally tend to refactor as I go through if I see that something's gotten egregious enough. Sometimes it's purely just because the requirements have changed over the course of the year and a half making the game. Like we started and we didn't have the game was never supposed to have leveling up in it at first. And then it did have it, or at least not the way traditional games would work. It was like the farm didn't exist until like 10 months into making the game. So it was like, okay, well, whatever code we had for increasing power needed to change. And you do enough of those changes, and then eventually you're like, okay, I want to make all the code look different. I think we're done here. I guess we need to test it. So what's the easiest way to test it? Enemy stat multiplier. Let's just say 5. So bats will have like 100 life and do 50 damage. They're gonna kill you. Hey Caleb, thanks for the resub. How you doing? I'm heading to the Git Mini Summit conference and the Git Merge conference, which I'm super excited about. Nice. I'm doing well. How have things been for you? Are going to touch stuff that aren't on the bandwagon of some sort? I don't think that's entirely true though. Like a couple of these YouTubers did get tons and tons of views, and they just decided to make videos on it. I don't know what their criteria was. And hey, Warner, it's going well. It's going well. We're working on some new trade-off abilities, and I believe we just coded one here. So what we should see is that that just totally broke. Value cannot be null. Get component create line 548. Oh, that's not even what that was supposed to be. Okay, yeah, my bad. I just didn't even read. Hey, Diartor. I'm doing well. Thanks for playing the challenge mode, by the way. Now 48,000 lines of code. Wow. Yeah, so we're almost 50K lines. All right, we're going to start a battle here. We are guaranteed to lose, I believe, because they should do 50 damage to us. 75. Is that correct? 75 damage. Forest bat. They have 10 power. How much does this multiply by? Get damage. Just the power. How can that be 75? Unless there's another multiplier somewhere. Oh, maybe there is another multiplier somewhere and I'm just not paying attention. What mode am I on? Farming mode level 3. Does that change enemy stats? Farming mode level 3. Yeah, enemies do 150% damage. Okay, so it was supposed to be 50, but multiply that by 1.5 and now it's 75. So yeah, that is actually correct. How's this going? Yeah. It's in Germany, right? I mean, I know that's not specific enough for people who are actually in Germany, but it does easily remove a lot of possibility for everyone else who's not in Germany. And then health. So health. Let's turn on invincibility. So sure, just go back into this run. So they're going to do 0 damage now, but they should take forever to kill. So I'm going to speed this up to like 8 times the speed. Yeah. So the stat multiplier is working, but this can go both ways. So right now we have it set to a negative effect. But if we set it to, let's say, 0.25, now it will be very, very easy to beat them. And we'll test that out. I know this is not a very interesting test. It's just multiplying by a different number. What are the odds that this doesn't work? But you never know. All right, so we're going to do the same amount of damage every time, which is, I guess, 14. But yeah, they've got hardly any life now. So they died in 2 hits. And they're doing very little damage to me, presumably. How much are they doing? 4? Yeah. The 11 that's happening is because zombies drain their own life. So yeah, the bats are doing 4 damage, which this stuff's probably correct. I said what? 0.25 times 10 times 1.5, which is, yeah, 4 rounded up. It's strongly typed. Yeah, I was in Clonk's stream for a little bit. It's nice to see him on the front page. I actually applied to be on the front page in September. And I thought, I could wait until I'm going to launch the game, but I don't know when that's going to be. And the last time I was on the front page, I got like plus 100 wish lists. So I was thinking if I just play through challenge mode this time around, it'll probably generate some interest. And maybe we'll get like 200 wish lists this time or something. Who knows? Oh, it's in Amsterdam and then LA. Wow. You're doing some traveling then. I didn't realize. I thought it was all in Germany. Yeah. Well, if you ever end up in Seattle, let me know. I don't like to travel, so I don't tend to go to conferences. What's the current wishlist count? I'm not sure. Let's go take a look. Oops, wrong document. It is 8747. 8747 on today. So in 5 days, it has gone up by a little less than 100. It has been dwindling, though. I feel like the rate has gotten lower. PAX West is happening soon. I don't know. In addition to not being someone into traveling, I'm not into conventions, even if they are local. How do you pronounce your username? Who? Yeah, who are we talking about? I don't even remember saying your username. But hey, Jerry. Any sorrow? What if it would do great? It might. I'm always conflicted about conventions because I just feel like I probably reach more people in a day of streaming than I would reach at a convention. I know there's a lot of foot traffic and everything, but how many people would drop by? How many people would play? How many people, like, how many setups would I have? How much would it sort of cost me to do this? And not just in terms of monetary cost, but like energy cost of being on, talking to people constantly. You're reaching the same people in streaming, arguably, versus, yeah, I know. I do think conventions would have some upside. Oh, yeah. Oh, I know about, a lot of people call him Clonk. Yeah. I originally said L:Q, but I'm now in the Clonk crew. How much will the game be on release? I'm thinking probably $15. I'm talking USD. I think that would be probably a good mix of what people expect and what's being delivered. And I think challenge mode is a big reason why it could be that much. But I'm not sure. I need to do some more research before that. Because I'm wondering, like, first of all, what is Slay the Spire? I'm not trying to say this game is going to catch on like Slay the Spire, but what do they charge for the game? It's $25. Yeah, I think we could potentially even go a tiny bit higher than 15. Like maybe it could sell for 20 or maybe 18 or something. I'm not sure. How do you know Kip Boga? Are you related? We're brothers. No, he came into my stream back in like, I don't know, 2017. And he's like, oh, I'm a streamer too. And so I checked out his stream. And he was, I don't know, pulling in like a few hundred viewers at that point. And then we met in person a few times. And yeah, now we're just friends. Potential for you to spend a little more time. Yeah. Do let me know. Okay, so we have coded this. So let's go check all this stuff in. Yeah, none of this is too crazy, which I guess is a good thing. None of this should be that hard to code. Now that's only going to work if you have the ability, and this is for every single battler. And the ability is going to check from this, which is what? Get multiplier. Let me see. I mean, it's a function call. I don't mind that part of it. But then this is get ability or default, which is get ability, which please tell me. Oh no. Oh no. It's O of N. Okay, we should probably make this into a dictionary at some point. Especially in challenge mode where you're gonna have tons of abilities. Yeah. I think that's gonna be a performance improvement we'll probably need to make at some point. Because you're probably gonna have like 100 abilities and there's gonna be checks all over the code base for this. You should probably change abilities component to be able to look up abilities by ID in O of 1 rather than O of N. With challenge mode and the new trade-off things, there could be tens of abilities at once. And there are lots of checks. All right, though the rest of those look fine. And then this stuff doesn't even need to be checked in. No and no and no. Yeah, cool. All right, so add enemy stat multiplier ability. All right, let's go check in all the UID files. Add UID files. We probably just run the UID tool completely. Am I on the right branch this whole time? Please tell me I am. Yes, I am. Okay. Just making sure I didn't totally bork this. Yeah, it's going to find some more of these. That's fine. It's also apparently going to change some of these. I don't know why that keeps happening. Like, what makes these stabilize? Is it just different developers' machines doing these? They modified that many? Is it still running? It is. Man. Okay, so run UID tool. It shouldn't have changed anything significant, just UIDs. Yep, and yep. Getting flashbacks to the botland to-do list. Does it need some pruning? It does. I spent a lot of time pruning it, but then I focused on challenge mode. So we were up to 46,000 characters. We were at, I think, like 80,000 a while ago, and I was really getting rid of stuff here. But yeah, as of late, I've just been focusing on challenge mode as much as possible. So this is done. This I'm going to hold off on. I'm just going to write an X there for now. And I'll just write update. I think this is too specific for me to want to do now. But it does sound interesting for a potential future option. All right, you always get seeds for your most valuable crop. Town perks cost 15 gold more from now on. Yeah, I think both of these are interesting. Let me think about this. So the farm has 5 levels of crops. It's a carrot is worth 2. I don't remember what the other ones are. Pepper, tomato, grape, pumpkin. Okay, so pepper, tomato, grape, pumpkin. That's 10, 5, 4, and 3. So now let's say there's a perk that says you always plant the most valuable crop you have. So at level, let's write in the levels here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So at level 1, it does nothing. At level 2, it's +1. No. Sorry, it's plus 0.5 expected value on average. On level 3, the average is what? 9, 4.5. What am I doing? 9, 3. Plus 1.5. Level 4, it'd be 9, 12, 14. 14 divided by 4. So also plus 1.5. Really? Huh. And at level 5, it's 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 10 divided by 5. So it's plus 5.2 on average. Kind of interesting that there's no difference between 3 and 4, right? Did I do that right? 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 divided by 4. Yeah, 1.5. And this one is 2 plus 3 plus 4 divided by 3, which should be 3. No. This is wrong. This is plus 1 on average. Yeah. I was like, that can't possibly be the case. Okay. So this is what this is really doing. And then based on the size of the farm, you could have anywhere up to 25 plots in total. So if we did have the maximum of this would be plus 12.5 per full cycle. This would be plus 25 per full cycle. This would be 37.5, and this would be 5.2 times 25, 130. This is a stark contrast once you get pumpkins. I'm just trying to think, is this ever worth taking? Like, it is. I mean, obviously it is. It's giving you more, but it's a very specific set of circumstances, I guess. Like, if you have the farming specialization and then you get this perk, you're like, oh my God, I just win the run. But in kind of all other cases, I don't really think it works out that way. It almost makes me wonder if some of these need to be combined so that instead of just one positive thing, we have like maybe 2 positive things and 2 negative things. And the positive thing would be like plus 2 random farming perks. And then also this one, you always plant the most valuable crop you have. And then I don't know what the 2 negative things are, something else. I think to-do lists in a group setting should probably be replaced with issue trackers with priorities, and that the lowest priority things pretty much just never get tackled. And there needs to be some like triage happening to make sure that they're just not constantly open in the issue trackers. It's always kind of sad when you know about a problem in a code base or a product and it's just never going to get the time to get fixed. And I think there are plenty of those. I think one of the best examples of this is like typos in the code base that aren't user facing. Like, these are bugs. It's pretty hard to argue that they're not bugs, but they're just very minor bugs. So it's probably not even worth spending the time fixing any of these. Like maybe if you got some automated tooling, but even then it's like, is it worth even 5 minutes to fix them? Probably not. Now that's also, it's pretty uncontroversial that they're minor bugs, but for user facing typos, it's like, okay, well now they are something that the user will see. Maybe they're unprofessional looking, but even then they're minor bugs. Maybe not as minor, depends on what the typo is. But it's like if someone used the wrong your, it's like, you probably still understand what they're saying. Still use the product. Can't both perfect a code base and add new features at the same time. I don't think you can ever perfect a code base. I think unless it's something that's so narrow and focused that it's going to be like 10 lines of code in total. Also, hi, Ryman. All right, so my overall question was this even worth adding? And I guess we could add it and then figure out later if it's not powerful enough. Although if it isn't powerful enough, there's no real way to make this more powerful without changing its effect. We'd have to say something like all crops give +3 food value or have +3 food value. Maybe that's a better formulation of this rather than you always plant the strongest ones. Maybe it's even plus some amount of percentage. And maybe that's what it should be this whole time. I'm not sure if I want every single one of these perks to be like a stat. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I think this is probably better. Because then no matter where you're, well, I guess they're just doing different things. One rewards you just for having a farm, and the other rewards you for having this specific perk. I don't know if it's important for me to have a trade-off that benefits you from having one perk. Yeah. A database table in a client's app. Yeah, this is why code reviews are important, I think. Yeah, I think I've changed my mind about this particular thing. On second thought, this is sort of a bad idea for a trade-off ability because it literally only it's it's only affected by a single perk crop variety. If you don't get that perk, this does nothing. If if you do get that perk, then it's finally affected by the farm size and growth speed as well. But yeah, without crop variety, this does absolutely nothing because you only have one crop. So you're always planting your most valuable one. And I just don't think that's good game design. There's this other, I don't remember what this is called. There in game design, there's a concept of parasitic effects where they sort of like depend on one another or else they have no value. So imagine something like, I don't know, farm size, farm value, etc. It's like outside of the context of the farm, this doesn't maybe mean anything. And then there's the like, I don't know what to call this, but like hate effect. So Botland had this at one point where there were landmines, and then there was like a detect landmines function. So if the enemy has landmines, then you must do this. And that's it. That's your recourse. There were some other maybe minor things you could think about, but it's like you have a fire ability in a game and you have a water ability to put it out. It's like the direct counter to this thing. And I feel like that's what we designed here. It's like, oh, you got that perk, so then get this thing. And it's just not fun. So yeah, I'm going to change this to you get more or less crop value plus X% crop value. I think the amount of structure to issue tracking is something that depends on the company size, structure, and skill level. I agree completely, yeah. For us, we have some shared product to-do lists, and then the rest is left up to us, where we have our own agendas with the caveat that we're executing roughly in line with the general direction of the company. Yeah. Yeah, I think the bigger the team, the more process is generally needed. And I've seen it happen with enough people's companies. I haven't worked in enough of these companies, but I've seen it happen from enough of my friends talking about it, my mentees talking about it, that as a company grows, it becomes untenable to keep operating at the old policies for things. Because these ones I was never good at the game. It was melee. Got to get those punches in. I remember that punch animation that we had. I liked it a lot. All right, ability ID. We're going to call this farm crop value or farm crop value multiplier, maybe. Maybe just value. I'm going to code this, and then I think I'm probably going to get lunch pretty soon. Yeah, so enemy stat multiplier. Let's go save this as farm crop value. Did I call it that? Yes, I did. Nice. All right, requires, I guess, the farm. And it's got a multiplier, and it does that. That looks fine. It's got this. That's also good. So this is going to be farm crop value. Multiplies farm crop value by... Technically, even these descriptions should probably change, like increases value by X and decreases value by X. That's something I want to write in the cleanup section of this. Yeah. If we end up keeping this system, we should probably polish the tooltips that we have. For example, while coding, what is this called? Farm crop value. I have a tooltip saying like multiplies this. We should probably change it to more human-friendly language, e.g. increases farm crop value by X%, or, well, I guess I'll just write it like this. Increases slash decreases. And we'll put that in bold. Okay, so now we just need to get this to work. Should be pretty simple. Farm, harvest, harvested crop. Chef slime drop off item. Oh, I see. So it's technically the chef slime and not the farm. All right, cook item. There it is. So somewhere here, there's a value. Yep, here. Modify wisdom sludge by the value. And this is not good. This doesn't know whether it's for a crop or for a fish. So we just multiply it no matter what. Which we could do. We could just say you earn sludge faster or slower. But this was specifically from crops. Well, let's go find out. This should only be called in a few places anyway. So here's consume fish, calls it. This is set sludge. Why is this used? Where is this used? It's used for a debug function, and it's used to subtract. So I guess technically this is not needed. And what else? This is cook. This is for crops. It technically isn't cook item then. It's cook crop. Also, we could technically just modify the value before we pass it into here. Yeah, that would be very easy to do. I guess that's what we're going to do then. Is there anywhere else that this got called? Or not cook item, modify wisdom sludge. There was one other place, and that's here. What is this? Level up adventure? Let's subtract the cost. So yeah, we just modify this. And what is that, a long? An int? Should probably be a long. Food value equals that. Food value. And then we multiply it by the multiplier. Times farm crop value, get multiplier. Oh, type it out for me. Nice. All right, now what's it saying? Cannot convert from float to int. Yeah, so mat.ceiling int. All right, there we have it. Now let's go test it out. So we're going to give you a farm crop value multiplier of 5. So now a carrot would be worth 10 and a pumpkin would be worth 50. And we start with a maxed out farm, so... Oh, it's got to modify tooltips too, doesn't it? Yeah, it says food value is 10, but when I cook it, it's going to... Oh, I harvest 5 things at a time, so it's really hard to tell. But they only harvest 1 thing at a time, so we should see this go up to 225 now. Yeah. All right, so food value. That is here. This is wrong. Value text is crop data.food value.toString. Yeah, we should probably just take in... No, I don't know how I want to do this. I want this computation only be in one spot though. So I guess instead of get multiplier, we should just say like get food value. Or get sludge value or something. And this would be an int. And this would take in the base value. And just do what we had already written out. Base value times the multiplier. Math.ceiling of that. And int of that. So then this changes to just food value equals farm crop value, get food value. Yep. And then same thing for the farm right here. Food value equals that. Crop data dot, there's dot value dot food value. Uh-huh, uh-huh. And then an object reference, what is this, underscore town? Yeah. Okay, cool. So now the tooltip should reflect this correctly. So I plant a bunch of things. Food value 25, 10, 15, 50. Yeah. And it should allow for critical hits too. Yeah, nice. Oh man, I'm really torn. I think any of these individually are fine. I just think balancing this for the game is going to be really tough. So let's say you were given a choice of this and whatever the other ones that we had. Where are they all at? Here. So we copy this over here and we say choices, get a treasure chest, but you lose the ability to have as many adventures in battle. Or this. Or yeah, this. Let's say like crops are worth 50% more sludge. So you're given these choices. What are you basing this on, I guess? And they're all trade-offs, so I guess no matter what the positives are, you always do have to consider the negatives, and vice versa. But if you start with in farm specialization, are you just like, I'm taking this no matter what? I guess this would have to be quite the negative for you to not consider it. And I don't want that to be what this mode turns into. Like one way of making choices would be, is this what my specialization wants me to do? So like farming spec is pick all of the farming upsides and just try to ignore the downsides. I mean, I guess so, right? Isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, it all depends on how big the negative is. We could do something specific for specializations here where we say like, we know that the farming positives are going to be amazing for you. So we ratchet up the negatives when you have farming spec, or when you're in farming spec. For all other cases, though, even if you have a powerful farm, we don't increase the negatives to compensate because you randomly got to that point. That might be needed. So in this case, we would just bump this up a bit and we'd say like, oh, they cost 35 more. So it's a stronger negative because we know that you're in farming specialization. I'm going to write that down too. Balancing, probably after playtesting. Are specialization related positives too impactful such that we have to increase the impact of the negatives? For example, in farming spec, you already have a maxed out farm. So getting plus 50% food value is bonkers. In that case, could we change what would have been a negative like plus 15% enemy strength into plus 30% enemy strength? Not could we, should we? Yeah. So I don't know the answer to that. Gotta do some playtesting. Technically this is already coded, the crop value thing, so we can check this in. Malt, food value. Yeah, this looks good. So chef's line needed it here, and the farm needed it here for the tooltip. Yeah, not bad. Well, it isn't taking too long to code some of these, at least the ones that are just numerical. Add farm crop value. Where's my to-do list? We haven't even worked on the generation of these things yet. So this is plus X% farm crop value. And then town perks cost more. I think that's going to be a post-lunch thing. I haven't even taken a break yet, and it's been almost 4 hours. I probably should have gotten up from my computer at some point. I had to pee for like an hour. Go from one flow state to another. I think we'll code this one, and then maybe another like 4 more, and then work on the generation and tracking and everything. And then you know what we could do? We could potentially launch the playtest version today, but with only one trade-off choice per run, and just see what that does. I like that idea. I don't know if we'll have enough time. It'd be nice to launch a playtest version today, even if it only presents one trade-off choice or one trade-off option at like 10 minutes in. We may not have enough coded to show more options than that. Wondering why the stream's so long. Yeah, Wednesday I generally try to at least just do like 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon. We've done about 4 hours now, so I might trim the afternoon a bit. But I do need to go get some food. Yeah. For those who've been watching and are like, hey, that game looks fun, you can play it. There's a demo. Hey, look, there's the demo. Yeah, so there's the Steam page. If you wanted to try challenge mode, that is not in the demo, but you can join the playtest if you want. And there's the instructions on how to do it. It's basically just join the Skeleseller Discord and DM me. And I hope to push a new version of this like today or tomorrow maybe. But it all depends on how many more of these trade-offs we can do. So that's what the afternoon is probably going to be, is coding more of these trade-off abilities. So I'm going to go get lunch. I hope you all have a good break. I'll be back in about an hour if you want to join again. And if not, that's totally cool. I hope you enjoyed your time here. I'll see you all after lunch, though. Take care.